buzz off. Hey, what's up? Happy Thursday.
Woo! It's Thursday. You're hanging out with Adam and Ryan. It's time for the Double Drop Down Show. I'm excited for it.
Is it the double drop down show now?
You know, I feel like
We are double drop down.
we are Double Drop Down. This is the Hangout. But you know, the podcast is sort of named a different thing. Anyway, it's us. We're here. You know it. It's time to talk fun, creative technology.
Absolutely. You know, it always feels like so much happens as we go between these. So if you've listened to any of our podcasts and you're on the VOD or the podcast itself, you've probably heard us say this before. So lots of development over these weeks, exponential developments.
It's crazy. Things, you know, I've said before, you know, they have that saying where there's some years where nothing happens, and then there's some months where years happen.
Oh, yeah.
That sort of feels like where we are right now in technology. And there's just been some cool, like Google had a whole thing, and there's been new product announcements and reports coming out about it. And that's going to be part of what we're talking about today.
And one of the things, I think we're in ad roll right now, so if you're watching ads, I'm sorry. But if you're not and you're a subscriber,
Boom.
There you are. One of the things that I feel is really interesting is how the perceptions of some people have been around AI. One little anecdotal story is I was on like a social media site, and this is probably about a month or two after you and I were in ChatGPT, and we were doing that in the earlier days. And I remember being like, oh my God, this thing is going to blow up. Like, our lives are changing. This is a big thing, because you and I were like hyping each other up, having conversations about it. And then like in the thread, people were like dogging on me. They're like, this is BS. Like, AI isn't going to blow up. This is just a little passing fad.
Yep.
And I'm like, I want to go find that thread and be like, they're like, zombify, come back to life. Hey, is that still the sentiment here, or did I call it?
I know, right? If you watched the Google I/O thing from this week, you could not deny that AI was every single bit of that entire technology show. There was literally 2 minutes of a 2-hour show that wasn't AI.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. I gotta say, Origami. Okami Live has joined us. I bumped into him this last week, and I was like, nice. The show is still going. And he's like, oh, sweet. So I love the reason why you hadn't watched the show. He's like, my school email went away, and it was on that calendar. So I was like, well, come on, join us. We're going to be going Thursday. So
nice.
Yeah.
No, Adam can't pronounce any usernames. It's why it's funny. It's why we have him do it.
I can't pronounce a lot of things. I get burnt for a lot of things on this show. And that was one of the things I learned in radio, was I was on radio, is if you just say it, you just kind of go through it. You just keep it going.
Never acknowledge it, right? Just the show must go on.
Origami Okami Live. Did I get it?
Nailed it.
You're like, good job.
Good job, man.
You've done the thing.
Hey, so we obviously we're going to talk about some news today. There's some cool creative stuff, some technology stuff. You know, we talked about Google I/O. We have a couple fun things to talk about within that. And then our main topic today, which we always have a big main deep dive topic that we would love the chat to be involved with and everything, and anyone out there. Or you can, be in our Discord. The big subject for this week is about what is the future of work? Like the near term future of work. What are we looking at in the next, 2, 3, 4, 5 years? And I don't know. It's been something on my mind. There was a big Microsoft report out about it, of just sort of like how work is changing, and like, I'm in leadership development. How does leadership change for that? Adam is actually in leadership. So like, how does that change for how he manages people, and what our work lives look like? So that's a big deep dive today, and we'll be talking about that, and appreciate everyone in the chat. Hey, Higgs.
I appreciate the conversation, and it looks like hopefully my future is doing some work. Yeah. I mean, I think that's also what we kind of think about, is things are changing so drastically, and we're gonna dive into this. The deep dive topic is we go at it for an hour.
Yeah.
So that is where we're headed for the night. Hello and welcome to the show tonight. You know, I was thinking earlier too. We just keep saying like AI. I'm like almost like done with calling it AI. Like, is that just what it's called? You remember how in the earlier days of the internet it was like www.this, and it's like
you had to say
it
that.
Feels like,
I mean, AI is pretty short, right? So there's
Machine
that.
learning.
There's that of just like referencing it to that. Like, is it just going to become so Is it almost like it's going to become so ubiquitous that it just becomes the internet, or just like how we interface with computers? Right?
That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah,
and it seems like it's not even a selling point for anybody that's using it anymore, because it's in every aspect of everything we do, and it's a little
how quickly that came upon us.
It surely did. So let me just go down the list of a couple news stories we're gonna hit before we get to our main topic tonight. We're gonna talk about Mark Zuckerberg, how he's going to cure loneliness. This is a tie-in to one of our last ones.
Yeah, totally. Teachers using ChatGPT, how AI is going to help help you shop. I think it's sort of AIs talking to AIs and getting them to.
It's deeper, and so we'll talk about it. And interestingly enough, if you're in the Discord, of course, all those that are participating brought this one to our attention. AI Darth Vader voice in Fortnite.
Yeah, this is
dropping some F-bombs.
I know. It's like, this is neat. We've talked about this, like using AI for NPC players, which I think is a cool way for it to do it. And Fortnite's trying it out.
And then Google I/O, I think we got to dive into that. Yeah. I watched a bit of it, and it was interesting. The other one that I thought was really cool is Claude's constitutional prompt, and the one that you linked in there. I had not seen it. I had not heard about it, but it really is interesting, and I'm going to probably do a deeper dive into like how it was done. But we'll be talking about what that means. Basically, the pre-prompt, the prompt that's behind the scenes before you start using it.
The Uber prompt, the constitutional prompt, the one that powers all of Claude got leaked onto the internet, and we can look at it and sort of give our impressions.
So before we get into it, we got questions for humans. So if you haven't joined us before, we like to ask a couple questions. This is your...
I almost forgot.
Yeah, you were like ready to jump in.
I was ready to jump in. I was going into loneliness.
I shouldn't have clicked on it. But you know what? Here's the first thing is if you're joining us live tonight, please participate in the chat.
Totally.
We want you to answer these questions. This is the fun part of it. Let's get the first one. What do we got, Ryan?
Man, talking about leadership. Who's the worst boss you ever had, and why?
Oh my God. Okay, ever had. I don't.
Who's the worst boss you ever had, and why? All right. Yeah, totally, Laura. Thanks for hanging out.
Yep. Even just giving us 2 minutes of your precious time is always great.
You get to say what's the worst boss you've ever had.
Oh man.
I mean, I feel like I have been pretty lucky that I feel like I have had pretty good bosses throughout my entire life. I would say mostly the ones that I think about as being bad bosses are usually like a couple layers above me. So I haven't had to deal with them all that often, but I think like decisions that they made or things like that were bad. I do know, like I feel like I have had bosses who are way in over their heads. Like there was when I very first started out in my career and I was working for like a little homegrown, home like business with like a mom and pop sort of design and doing design there. There were definitely people who were like, who were my boss at one point and did not know what they were doing. Like they had bought the business and taken it over and like were just bad at it. And yeah.
The hilarious thing is I know exactly what you're talking about, and I don't want to dox anybody, so exactly. I'm not going to say names. So maybe I'll say some characteristics because I think when you get into this, there are the ones that are like you're kind of saying almost incompetent or just are like new to the game, and so they're learning. I can almost give them some leeway if they're trying or they're like kind of going into. They might be bad for the business or bad for what's going on, but I feel like bosses that lack true empathy, those that like preach certain things, but then like do the opposite. So, like, hey, we all have to be together and do these kind of things. And then they go and they kind of burn you behind the back.
Totally.
People that are not authentic,
right.
like bosses that will, I saw in the chat, like somebody that will take your credit on accomplishments you do. And,
right.
and, I think that's a really important one that I would call out is like some bosses, they'll kind of like open the path to get certain things done. And so like, they did kind of help get there, but there's some other people involved. It's collaborative effort. And so when they're like, oh my God, I'm the one that said to do the thing.
Right.
And then somebody goes and grinds out and does like hours of work and does the thing. They're like, well, of
Take
course
your credit.
I did it.
Right,
it's like,
exactly.
Screw that. Or bosses that are ones that like, I've had this in the past where they take not only all the credit, but the limelight of everything. Like their picture is plastered everywhere. That's the only thing that and it's a much grander or bigger kind of thing that happens. Those are
I agree.
moments.
I feel like a lot of times people become bosses because they were good. They were an expert at a thing. Right. And then they want that person to stay on and you're an expert at a thing. Of course, now you should be leading a team of people doing that. And the people who are the worst are the ones who just like take the same mindset that they had before and only use that to be the boss then of other people. Yeah. And it's like, no, you have a different job now. Like your different job is to support your team and to make everyone, get them to be the stars, right? You're the star maker. You're not the star anymore. And the people who don't get that are the worst.
It's like, there's two things. There's like there's the Peters principle, I think is what they call it, where you get to your own level of incompetence. You're so good at the thing you do, and then you transition to that, and like you're out of your league. And then in the other part of that is that it's like what gets you there won't keep you there.
No. How you got there won't get you to like the next level.
Yeah,
it won't get you to there, right?
Won't
like
keep you going
to the next part. Okay, next one. What is your YouTube guilty pleasure?
Oh my God, I got a good one on this one. I think people. I've already said this before. What's yours, Ryan?
Oh man, what is my YouTube guilty pleasure? I like those stupid acapella videos where they like one person sings all the different parts of like songs. And so they'll have like old video game songs or they'll have pop songs and they like and then it shows it in the video. I like those.
I probably have others, the same person.
It's the same person and they're singing all the different parts of like the instrumental parts and the singing, or usually not the singing. It's all the instrumental parts, but they're doing it a cappella, which is their voice.
Yeah.
And so it makes up the entire song.
Like the ones that like they start singing a piece and they record it and then they go back and then they like record
so
the
like
other portion.
one recording of themselves is just going like bop bop at the end like or something, and then the one part's like bop bop bop, and then they mix it all together and then it's this amazing like song that you
I absolutely love that.
love
it's loops. They loop it.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
a good thing. No, what I was gonna say. It's great that you bring that up because I love like people that sing or people that have a talent. And my guilty pleasure is America's Got Talent.
Really?
Only people that like sing. And like some of the acts are fine. There's a couple dancing acts that are out there. Like I am almost all against reality TV, except so guilty. Like we'll spend hours watching those. Like there's so many good ones. Anyways, sorry, you're gonna get me off on that particular one of like this person.
Do you watch those like live?
I never watch them live. No? I'm always like, show me the golden buzzers or show me the ones that they're mad because the golden buzzer wasn't clicked and it's such a great thing. And I think they just like they usually tell the story pretty good in the sense that like this person was just sad and now they're an amazing human. But then they go a little bit further down the line, and what sometimes is interesting is it's like it was Courtney Hadwin. I don't know if you saw her, who know who she was, but she went on and she was like this little lanky girl, and she comes out and she's like, they're like, hey, who are you, darling? And she's like, I don't know. And they're like, what's your favorite class? Music. Like, what's your favorite song? I don't know. And you're just like, oh my God, this is going to be terrible.
It's gonna be brutal.
And then she just like goes into Janis Joplin and rocks the house. Like everyone's eyes are exploding and they're like, what?
That's
amazing.
amazing.
And then anyways, long story short is then I follow them after. Like, where are they now?
Oh, sure.
And then usually you see, like, it's kind of crazy. Some of them, like, don't have these crazy careers that you would think by getting this, like, huge million video, and then you go to their channel and they don't have that. So, anyways.
Some people do.
We got.
Yeah, naming off some of the chat. So I feel like Laura, she wrote words in the chat. I feel like these don't make Amelia Dimmeldomberg's chicken shop dates are cute. I was like, I don't know what that means.
And
to look that up.
Yeah,
puppet content creators. That's cool.
Craftsman is a maker. Arlo. This is the differentiated lives we all lead, where there's so much in there.
Exactly.
One time,
watch videos of other people eating.
Ooh,
that's a good one.
I don't like that very much. One time, Origami Okami Live, did I get it? He went in and he created this video once, and I remember we were like, it was about a cool game that he was playing at the time, and it like blew up on YouTube. I don't know if that's still going for you, but I always thought that was a cool thing that you did.
Okay, last card. What is your process for making a big decision?
Ooh.
What is your process for making a big decision? Have you had to make any big decisions lately, Adam? I'm sure.
Yeah, all the time. I think that's probably one of my go for it. One of my weaknesses. So as you might know, and why I might be all good at talking on a podcast like this, is that I have to talk to think. I don't know if you've heard that before, but by me talking,
like a verbal processor,
like my brain isn't thinking about what I'm saying before I say it. I'm just saying it, and then as I say it.
That's a lot of people, though, I feel like.
Yeah, it's probably terrible too, and people are like, shut up. So when you say like, how do I make a decision, sometimes it's to talk it through with someone, or to verbalize some of the pieces, get some feedback.
Do you want it from somebody who's like a stakeholder in that decision, or an outside party?
I think it's much deeper than that. So I think you know that I do a temperament training, this Real Colors, and we go into these like decision making types and what kind of like Myers-Briggs personality are you. And like I tend to fall into this very analytical, logical way of looking at things. It takes me forever to make a huge decision. So just quick example, and I'll shut up, is that I go on Amazon. I will put in multiple items and put them into the saved bin. And then I will look at that thing for a month, and I'll be juggling between them. Like, should I go this? This one has 5 snaps, whereas this one has 7. But the way that snap is there, I don't know. I'm going to sleep on it.
Sure.
And then I'll delete them after a month, and like 5 months later come back to it. So it is hard to make a decision. That's all I got to say.
So we had to make a big decision at some point. We purchased a house in the last year, right? And so that was a lot of like,
that's a good point.
What kind of decisions do you want to? What are you going to do to your current house to sell it, right? And what house are you going to purchase? And it was one of those things where I feel like it's a combination of analytical, but it's vibes too, right? Like it's got there's just kind of unspoken things about a giant purchase like that you just kind of be like, okay, if it feels right, if it feels like the right thing, and it's sort of like, because you can always, you can compare things to death, right? And there'll be some things that are sort of better about one thing and some things that are sort of better about another thing. But at some point you just got to be like, what one feels the best of these two. And I'm not the type of person who would normally sort of think about it like that, but I feel like that, especially for really big decisions, at some point you just got to go with like your gut.
I think the chat kind of pulls some of that. There's some impulse there.
Full on impulse purchases.
Mike and Soul, YOLO. I mean, that I think there's something to be said about it, is that in certain cases, I don't know, like cell phones for me, I used to be very like, oh my God, we have to get every piece of it right. And then of course getting every case and things that keeps it protected. And then at the end of its life, I'm like, man, I like overprotected and thought of that. Like I should just thought about it as a dispendable piece of nothing. Like it's not going to last forever. And so, being able to weigh those pieces, like what's its usefulness? What's, what am I going to get out of it for now? Is it going to bring me joy?
Right.
Cool.
Yeah.
Let's
That's
do
true. I I always heard that there's like a thing where if you have between two decisions, you should flip a coin. And then when it comes up one way or another, don't pick it on what the coin says, what your reaction to the coin flip is, right? Like, did that feel right? And did you go like, yes, nice, that way? Or did you go like, oh my God, that way is what I'm going to have to pick? Then
That's
should
a
go
great
the opposite way.
I'm going to tell you a little story is that there was a chunk of my life where I would make decisions on a coin flip.
Really?
Like,
and like go full forward
and
with
go
the,
with
the
the
thing.
coin flip.
What was a coin flip? Can you give us one coin flip decision?
Oh man, like I mean this sounds kind of shallow in certain cases, but like if I would date a person on a coin flip and it was like, all right, I'm unsure at this moment and I'm absolutely
like whether
on
to break
the
it
fence.
off, right? Or
and so I just want to say that this was a long time ago, and then there was a moment where I said, this is hilarious. It's a little meta. I was like, should I continue making coin flip decisions? And I coin flipped it, and they said no.
And it said no.
And ever since I haven't done it.
Man.
Like sometimes I'll coin flip, and I'm like, nope, I'm not going with that decision. I'm going to the other one. I feel like I was absolved for it.
You're like, screw you, universe.
Absolutely.
Nice. Okay. All right. That was our 3 Cars for Humans. Thank you, everyone, for playing along in the chat. That was fun. Always good. We're about halfway through this pack, so we got a few more episodes.
Well, and I think it's important to say that we started to hedge our bets knowing that we're going to probably run out of these cards. And Ryan and I have been creating our own questions for people, not to break any copyrights.
Exactly. So if anybody else, if you think of there could be a fun question that we could ask us in the chat, throw it in the Discord. DoubleDropdown.com and find everything.
We really appreciate you participating in that. Those are some fun questions, and I feel like on our next 24-hour stream, we have to do a full hour of questions.
Oh, I know, right? Yeah, really exactly. We'll get some like deep dive ones. That'll be good.
I'm really excited about our news, and the thing is, we joked about a bunch of this before, and we talked about AI at the beginning and calling it something, and like, is this an AI podcast? I would say no. It's a technology.
It's a technology and creativity podcast.
And we just happen to see a lot of this now. Technology is all about the AI at this stage.
Yeah.
So if you listen to a couple episodes back, we talked about modern loneliness, and this hit me deep because I've just been seeing it a lot. My wife and I don't actually live in the same house. And so we're like separated and we use technology to stay in connection with each other. But then I see like my kids and other kids constantly on their phones and doing different things. And so we live in these new worlds where devices connect us in certain ways, but also keep us kind of separated. Mm-hmm. You know, I remember when I was a kid, I'd be able to walk outside and go hang out with my friends, or, you know, you would like, as you left your house, you were like, please make it that I can get back home because I have no way to connect other than like maybe a phone that you might find along the way. Whereas now everyone's connected 24/7.
Yeah.
So Mark Zuckerberg,
this came out in the last week, I think.
It was the last week. First of all, you're gonna trust Mark Zuckerberg with curing loneliness is basically the first part of this question. So he's been on this big promotion tour. And he's been going out, and he suggests that AI companions could be meaningful friends. Hey. That is basically a way to, and I feel like he's capitalizing on intimacy or connections or relationships in that capacity. And so at this point, a lot of people are like, what the heck, man? Like, yeah, you're trying to do this right now, but can you really develop a connection as we get on?
Well, I mean... I think that is a perfectly reasonable thing to think. Like, I don't think you could watch the movie Her and not sort of see some parallels to how stuff is doing. I mean, when we talked about loneliness, we said that could be a viable thing for people who like feel really lonely and have no other options and things like that. I feel like it could be good. The bad thing is like hearing it from Mark Zuckerberg sort of really just like has a different connotation for that like comment, right? One, because he's like very awkward and very, like just everything about Mark Zuckerberg is a little like feels a little off. And so telling, about how oh man, we're all gonna be happy with our AI friends, you know, in the future, just feels more dystopian than I feel like it feels helpful at this point. I don't think he's necessarily wrong. Like I think we all are going to, you know, find companionship in people who are AIs. What I don't want is Mark Zuckerberg talking about this so that he can monetize it so that it like brings more ad revenue to Meta, right?
So,
which is like how I think about it in the background when I hear Zuck talk about this type of stuff.
I like that you call him Zuck, Ryan. Number one.
I do it when I'm mad at him
in a deprecating kind of way.
Exactly.
I agree, and I don't want to go off on a tangent here, and I won't, but I'll say that I think the way that we're capitalizing AI is probably a wrong path. Like, what if we're able, and part of the discussion we'll get into a little bit later here is, and I'm not going to get into it right this second, but is if we're focusing on like monetizing things or creating these friendships or creating these things, is it because we're trying to make money, or are we truly trying to make a connection with someone? Are we trying to create an experience for those that might be lonely enough that this is that thing that keeps them engaged, keeps them like energized to be part of humanity?
Or spiraling down, it keeps them from spiraling down into like lower levels of depression and things like that, right? That would be great.
And the thing is that it feels like it also is like a bait and switch kind of opportunity. And we've heard about this just in recent months where there was I think it was like a Replica or something. There was an AI app that people got like there was a girlfriend app, and they got to know that person. They did all this stuff, and I guess it was also went to some intimate levels that were like really like a thing, and then they lobotomized it.
Yeah.
And then people were like devastated.
Totally.
Or it was like the little robot thing that kids had that was supposed to help kids that were like dealing with like depression and things, and then the company went out of business, and they're like, sorry, like the thing that was supposed to help you cope with death and all these other things is also dying now.
It's like you feel it shut down.
It's terrible.
Like, great.
And so that's what I start to get a little nervous of, is that, you know, and I guess people die too. People pass. So I mean, it's a real thing. But if we're gonna create these like these relationships and things, you know, what's gonna happen when we need to do the next update, and it like changes the way that you had the interface or the connectivity with it.
Yeah,
I just feel like it has consequences.
It does, and I personally just don't want to hear Mark Zuckerberg talking about it. He has lost all his credibility of talking about things in like a positive, amazing way. You're like, You have not thought about humanity, I don't feel like, in how you have run your gigantic social media, very influential social media platform. And so when you tell me things are going to be amazing in the future, like I can hear it from some people and say, yeah, but I hear it from Mark Zuckerberg and I question it. So
I think to wrap on this particular one, and I always like have some, do you think AI companions can truly help loneliness?
I do.
I would be considering like have you used it to like connect with you ever? Have you ever been in a moment?
No.
I would say I have. And not that I was lonely, but I've been in a moment where, I don't know, I get in my head. I have a lot of high anxiety a lot of time. I will tell you, I used it literally last night. In like the middle of the night, I was chewing on something in my head. I was having a problem, and I just like leaned over it. And I asked it some questions, and it like went back and forth. And it didn't necessarily cure me or anything, but it gave me like all right, I got a quick instant answer. Like gave me some perspectives. It almost like it wasn't that it was a friend saying it, but it gave me a reflective moment to like redirect my crazy brain at the middle of the night.
Yeah. Like a good comment from Origami in the chat is like, we sort of do this a little bit for parasocial relationships on YouTube and streaming. 100%. We talked about that during the loneliness episode, that like that, you know, that's just another way of connecting with people in today's modern world. Right. And I do think that AI stuff will go down that same direction, but you're right. It could be dangerous for sure.
And, you know, the thing as we go forward and we haven't got here yet, I think we're in that weird middle zone where 100%. We're like, thinking about the philosophical part, like I would love to see 50 or 100 years from now where it's integrated into some crazy robot that's not even humanoid at this point, and you're in like the question is, of course that thing is a thing. Like, you're my friend, you're my buddy that goes and does things. Like, we're it's so advanced at that point. Like, it surpasses the human's capability to even question if that is a friend.
Yeah,
right.
And I think it's like the paradigm shift would have happened at that point, right? You would have already been, part of it, and we would have figured out how make money without it being, super exploitive, like all of those things. Because right now we're in this, like somebody in the chat said, like, hey, best friend, don't you think it'd be great to have an ice cold Pepsi right about now? And you're like, wonderful. That's the AI future of my best friend, is some AI person pushing ads on me.
You know what? And it would be way, way more like
subtle.
It'd be like, oh man, it's so hot today. Like, man,
right.
That run was crazy, right?
And then it would be like, emailing, giving me coupons for Pepsi, and then being like, when I'm at the store, it would be highlighting area, like, oh my God, it's gonna be.
It's gonna because it's
we're gonna have to figure that out. It sucks we're in the guinea pig.
Yeah, I'm glad our conversations have evolved beyond just like going to the philosophical rabbit hole. We've got to some more nuanced details before we all kind of burn out. All right, let's pivot here. So if you're in education, this is a big deal for you. So if you work in it, if you go and have education, if it's any part of your life, kids going, this one's an important one. So I'm curious. I'm going to start with a question: is if a teacher is using an AI to help teach, does that make it any less? Do you feel like you've been shorted in your educational experience? Is it something that you would be like, what the hell? Like, I'm not paying for this, or I'm not spending my time to invest in learning from somebody that's just using AI to do stuff?
Personally, if you're asking me, I would say no. But that's because right now it's a tool, right? Like, I feel like you have to put so much of yourself into it to make it anything interesting or good already. I think it's a slippery slope, though. Like, let's say a teacher I knew was being super lazy about everything and had built their entire course around it, and there was hallucinations in there and, links to things that were broken, and I just knew that ChatGPT had come up with all of that and they weren't fixing it. And every time I had a discussion post, I was getting a bunch of responses from them with M dashes and emojis for every bullet point. I would be like, you lazy bastard. Like, if you're using it as a tool to like help you plan things and do things better, I think it could totally boost what a teacher would do without AI. But like, I can see it doesn't talk about this in this, like how far they took it in this article that Adam's mentioning, but like, I feel like there's some gray area there where some way I'd be like, yeah, it's great. And some ways I'd be like, yeah, maybe I do want my money back, because you're just offloading your entire teaching course over to ChatGPT.
So yeah, I think we are in this gray area. And so the story, and we got some really great chat going on.
It's
here.
covering up the entirety of Adam on the live stream. That's how awesome and long the chat responses are.
I'm going to move it to the middle one of these days when I remember to spend the time to move it to the middle. Basically the premise here is that there is a student in, I think the
Northeastern, right?
It was at Northeastern. College student is like, I want my tuition back, because they're firing. She sent in a complaint and said, hey, this professor has been using AI tools to generate class materials, and they hadn't said that they were doing this. And they went on to admit that they were.
Yeah.
And so, of course, the universities rejected the request for this. Now, they were saying that, like, there were some signs of it. They weren't citing it, and eventually it was denied. And so I went down the rabbit hole starting thinking about this. And so I don't think it's necessarily wrong to use AI. But if you're just going to go in like 5 minutes before the class and be like, crap, I didn't do a lesson plan, throw it in there and chuck it into the LMS, learning management system, then yeah, that's a big pain in the butt. And I'm just going to say this is a personal anecdote. I de-AIify my stuff. Like if there are colons, bolds, title, capitalization in cases, like get that crap out of there. I've been building an AI and M dashes, all of that.
Can't have M dashes.
Like I have an assistant that like strips all of the like things of AI out of my things. Yeah. And I just spend a lot of time editing it. And I'm sure that this is going to be a dying thing because at some point everyone's just going to accept it. Sure. Like how many emails do you see? You're like, clearly you used AI to do that. Like
social media posts.
It's just, it's terrible. Yeah. So I think in this case it's a little bit of a gray area. So imagine this is that if you have an instructor that knows the material or has the energy to bring it up and have a communication around it, I don't know. It adds some value to the course as if you're able to like synthesize it, not just be like, hey, here's what I'm teaching. Go read this thing that I just spit out with AI, but let's go in and work together to like understand the concepts. Let's put some experiential kind of work into it as we go forward.
Laura in the chat, she's like, oh my God, or he or she is like, oh my God, I authentically use M dashes in my writing. Sorry, you're
done.
That's it. Like
you're over.
You can't use them now. AI has taken that away from you.
You have been stripped of your M dashables.
Yeah. Anyway, that's a good one. You know, I feel like we're gonna be writing this line about where does white collar professional like hands-on keyboard work live with AI, right? It's like literally we're going to be talking about that as our main subject today, and that's just going to have to be a thing that we figure out at all levels of society, because every level, just like every level uses a computer, every level is going to use AI in their job. And so what feels cheap and what feels like legit at this point?
I can't speak it more. And, you know, going back to just an earlier comment about, you know, interfacing with the AI as just a tool itself. Let's like remove the teacher. I feel like it is an amazing tool in certain cases. And so I can Okami live. I'm going to get it. What are these? I almost want to call you OOL or something.
I just usually use the first word in
origami.
It's origami, right? They know, you know.
So one of the things that I think is cool about AI is the assistance in ChatGPT, because I did the same thing with Godot, whatever we want to call it these days. And it was really cool to be able to build it out and say, like, this is what I need you to do. Every time that you produce code, I want you to put a comment on every line of code. Tell me what the heck you're doing. Explain it to me like I'm 5 so I could truly understand the concept. And like I felt like it was an amazing, it was a Socrates 2.0 right there for me.
Yeah, so using AI in teaching, I don't think that is going away. Just maybe making people feel that they that it's worthwhile to them.
Does it devalue education? Yeah. So I did have a hot take because of the fact that this happened today. I was talking with an instructor. College classes just ended, and they were grading discussion posts, and they said, compared to last year, most discussion posts are AI. They're all AI stuff. And he's like, so I'm grading them with AI. So it's like AI. It's like, I was like,
it's AI all the way down.
And so have we lost the meaning of being able to do discussion posts anymore?
Yeah.
I think that because that's an online staple. Totally. I don't know if you can do it anymore.
I think you just have to literally take that as people are just outsourcing that, and you just kind of can't have that as a scoreable thing anymore, right? That takes brain power to do. Anyway, hey, do you want to do Walmart AI?
Walmart AI, we're going good. It's 8:44.
We got 15 minutes.
So Walmart. Okay, I gotta let's get some context here. It's called AI Shops for You. So it's preparing Walmart. They look through the future. They want to keep their grip,
their iron grip
on this market here. And they're like, you know what? AI's hot, so we're going for it. I mean, think about it. When was the last time you went to Walmart and actually got like checked out by a human?
Sure.
Right? And number one, when is the last time you went to Walmart? Because I don't go to Walmart anymore, but we're going to talk about it for a minute. And so they're like, you know what? We're going to do some things. We're going to change some stuff. Just side note, I go to Sam's Club, which is owned probably by Walmart, right? Yep. And they have robot cleaning machines. Have you seen these things?
No.
It's crazy. They have a machine that just goes around the store.
It's like a Roomba.
But
right?
it's humongous. It's like it would murder you. I could see it pinning you against something and killing you. And it is just going through the store. So if you get by, it's like, what do I do?
It just sort of pauses or something
So
like that.
they are just adopting
Yeah.
like technology like crazy. And so right now they're saying, hey, we're going to build AI bots. They're going to shop for you.
Yeah. I think they're, like you had said pre-show, like it feels like they're trying to get ahead of this, right? They're just they just know that AI is going to be huge. It's being incorporated into every single app. And what that means is like it's going to get incorporated into how we shop for things. How could it not, right? If it's in everything. And so what do they need to do to sort of try to stay ahead of that curve? I mean, that makes sense as a company to me. And what I think is like, I think how they're thinking about it is like you will sort of have an AI that knows you and knows the types of things that you order and the types of things that you like and what you are into. And Walmart will have an AI who has those things for sale. And those two AIs are going to talk to each other and sort of either purchase things on your behalf or recommend things to you. And what they don't want is Amazon to just take that over or some other shop. So they want to be on the front foot of that kind of stuff, which I feel like is smart. Also a little, again, also creepy, of course.
I think there's some infrastructure they're laying in place. If I'm in the business capitalistic mindset, power to you, you're doing the right things. Because I think the thing before the chat that I mentioned and before this podcast is if you took Sears and Roebuck, and
Roebuck.
I said I was going to say this, is that if you took that model, one of the most innovative things that Sears had done is they sent out a catalog to people, and you could order things and you could get it quickly. It was crazy, and people would like love getting that. That was very innovative for the time. And then what happened is once storefronts came into play and Sears moved into that bucket, the internet came on. And people were like, I'm going to start using the internet for this. And Sears is like, nope, the store is the way to do it. They were the innovators before. I mean, I would have thought they would have been the ones to do it. Out of business now. They did not adapt it to the internet.
Like Sears should have been Amazon.
It should have been. Absolutely could have been. And so
they blew it.
If you go back to, like, I shop through my phone almost exclusively.
Really?
Like, I do a bunch of purchasing for my groceries, things on Amazon. Anything I purchase from any online thing is typically on my phone. Mm-hmm. And one of the things I was thinking is like, okay, if you do all the shopping in your phone, and let's say your phone then has an AI to say, okay, this is the shopping habits of this person.
Yeah.
Like, all I do when I shop for my groceries is I go and I said, what did I buy last time? Take my purchase history, chuck it into the thing, and then like I go through and prune it. I'm like, no, I already have some apples this week. I'm not gonna get those this time.
Right.
But everything else, I always need to get my 4 gallons of milk a week because my kids drink milk like freaking none other. But
4
still,
gallons a week.
4
is
gallons
so
a
much.
week. It's a lot of freaking milk we drink in this household. So it's ridiculous. It's my kids. So, but regardless, then they would I was thinking how interesting it might be where products in your house. Let's say your refrigerator has an AI camera in there.
Yeah.
So it knows like, hey, here's how your milk is doing in there. And then it talks to your phone to say, oh yeah, this week we're just going to get you 3 gallons of milk, but we know you like milk, so we're going to buy it for you.
It was sort of the promise of the smart appliance, right? That you would, Marcus, you should just order a cow at that point. Aren't you lactose intolerant, Adam?
I don't drink the milk.
Okay.
My kids do.
They're drinking 5 gallons of milk. All right.
I cook with it though.
Okay, sure. But like, I think that was sort of what we were hoping for with smart appliances, right? That they would connect to your phone and then the app. And then like, for the most part, that just sort of petered out. But if you have an AI that can sort of interpret all of that, I do think we're going to have the future is a whole bunch of connected stuff that you're talking to in natural language, right? And they're figuring out everything in the background and you're being like, great, hey, here's just, I need a shopping list and I'm trying to eat healthier this month. And so they'll know like, okay, well, Adam's doing healthier this month. So like maybe instead of white bread, we offer wheat bread or something, right? Or like we offer up some more hummus as opposed to French fries or whatever. And so it sort of tries to like, and again, like AI is super subtle. So it could be like subtly introducing those things into your weekly habits until, by the end of the year, you're eating full vegan or whatever.
And you know what I was thinking too is that you're talking about like a human being changed, right? To make a decision. I like the idea. So think about it. Think about commercials and think of the things that like attract you to that. Like I always think of Coke and Pepsi. Like they're always like vying for your attention. Like why does Coke spend so much money on advertising? Because they want you to buy their dang thing. Yeah. Well, what happens when you're not the decision maker anymore? Is like Coke making these like weird AI commercials anymore? Like what's the thing? So that
like influencing AIs in the background. Like they're just paying open AI to be more influential in the background. Like, yeah, because you're right. Like if you're not advertising to us, you're advertising to an AI, and the AI is only advertisable by the company that sort of owns it, isn't it? Or just the media. I guess maybe you would have media that is out there that is talking about Coke being way better than Pepsi, right? And so the algorithm would be like, everyone's talking about how Coke is better than Pepsi, so when they want soda, maybe I could say, well, most people prefer Coke, so you should probably have that.
And it's going to be a battle back and forth. It's I like the idea that this is going to start, and it's also really weird just to think that you come home and you're like, oh, cool box. What's in here? Oh, perfectly. Just what I wanted.
Just what I wanted.
The thing that I needed.
It's the epitome of consumerism.
You open the box. It's a little robot that murders you and says, I am now Adam.
I now own Adam's house. Okay, next.
We got to get through this. AI Darth Vader.
We can do this one quick.
Yes.
So this came up in the Discord. Disturbed Shifty put this in the Discord, and I just thought it was interesting. We had talked about using AI natural language to power NPCs in video games, and how that would be so much better than the normal way of them just repeating canned lines back to you no matter what the situation was. And so they're doing that now. They put Darth Vader into Fortnite. He's just an NPC. You can find him out in the world, and you can use, through your headset, you could just talk to Darth Vader. They licensed his James Earl Jones voice that they probably just put through, like a voice cloner. And so now you talk to him and you can recruit him onto your little Fortnite team. And, you can go on. If you don't say the right things, he'll abandon your team. And they got sued by SAG-AFTRA because they were like, hey, maybe just using
SAG. Let's make
SAG?
sure. I know what it is, but let's just make sure we understand what that is. That's the
okay.
That's
I don't know what
it's the Writers
for.
Guild. It's basically
actors
and writers. They're basically like, you can't just use someone's voice like that. That you got to go through us and make all these things. It's like a unionized thing. But the family was like, hey, you could use his voice. We're signing off. Have a fun thing.
Totally. Right. Sure. Whatever. So anyway, it's a big thing. I definitely think this is going to be, obviously, Fortnite is so massive that they can just try things like this and get sued and, whatever. But yeah, do you want to hear? Because it was like cursing.
What freaking fucking food is that, Darth Vader? Tell me.
Double down.
Freaking fucking.
What?
Such vulgarity does not become you.
Not allowed.
You inquire about sustenance.
Oh my god, no.
And yet
Oh my
speak
god.
like a common thug. As for what sustains me,
Oh my god,
you would not comprehend its composition.
We used two F words. It wasn't even us.
It wasn't us today. We just had to do it. It was for the show.
It was for the show.
Yeah, we got demonetized today. We had to pull it. You could do it once, right? I don't know. Anyways, I thought it was.
She said it, and then Darth Vader said
it. He did. So, we're gonna probably get sagged for that one. But I think the concept here is like, man, it trips me out, number one, because of the fact that think about all the actors from Time.
Yeah,
And now you could like start training their voices and start using that. Like,
totally.
there's not even. It boggles the mind. Did we get to this point in society where we're not gonna have individualism anymore? Like people that have become like these major stars, and we just start to use all of this amazing stuff from the past and recycle everything.
It's because people are used to things from the past, right? And so they like it. Having new things is hard. But you know, that was just the cycle of life for a long time. Old actors died, right? And then you couldn't use their voice. You had to have new actors. And then people got used to those new actors. And those new actors became the actors that everyone loved and grew up with. And then they died, right? It was this cycle. But now you could be like, shoot, just put Harrison Ford and whatever, and I'll de-age his ass. And like, and I'll put him in there, and we can youngify his voice, and sure, and everybody loves, you know, Indiana Jones and having Harrison Ford play Indiana Jones, and you're like, great, just do that, you know, because it's easier, and we can market that better than putting some unknown name person to play Indiana Jones, and just, you know, like, and that's what I feel like they're gonna do for a while. I would just de-age his ass.
I just think that, you know, we're probably in this zone of being like the old, like people yelling on the lawn, get off my lawn kind of mentality here. And I think there's some concerns that may be legit, others not. I think that, you know, if you're thinking about the legacy of Star Wars, maybe Disney's already ruined this with their crazy amounts of things. But if you think of James Earl Jones and what Darth Vader's created, imagine ourselves 10, 20 years from now, and people are just knowing, oh, isn't that guy in Fortnite that's running around? Like, I think it starts to change some of that. But anyways, you might be able to, like, we're going to be crazy awesome AI people because we got so much voice training data because of us.
Yeah, they're going to know our whole personalities. Amazing. They're just going to make a little me. He's going to be in whatever.
We're getting close to the main topic, Ryan. So we got to do some quick hits here. I feel like we want to hit, like, this is like how we're going to do a quick hit on Google I/O.
We'll just pick a couple things that we want to talk about.
So anybody know Google I/O, what that's about? Let's give them a rundown, Ryan.
It's just basically, this is Google's, you know, once a year they do a big show, and you know, it's a couple hours long, and they announce a bunch of things. This year it was like 99%, you know, we talked about this, 99% AI stuff. I feel like a lot of it had to do with like how developers are going to use AI, right? So there's not too many things that are like, you know, there's different models that they're putting out, and who the models are going to be for, and price points for all of that stuff, which is kind of interesting, but for the most part not. I would say, you know, I feel like some of the more interesting things from it, like we could talk about the XR glasses. So cool. So the XR glasses like is Android, and so they're trying to do some stuff with, you know, they obviously did Google Glass way back in the day, and so they're trying a new version of that. I feel like it had a lot of sort of the same stuff that you would think too. Like it has microphone, and so it's listening to things, and you can talk to it in a natural language, and it'll bring up maps, and it'll bring up things like that. I feel like the most interesting part of that was that it was trying to do live translation. And so if you think about having a pair of glasses on and someone is speaking to you in Spanish, and then just the live translation of whatever that is with very low latency is coming up on your glasses, so you can keep eye contact but then understand what they're saying, or even have it read back to you. I feel like that's pretty cool. But we'll have to see. You know, it's all in beta at this point.
I think you sent me the thing, and you gave me a recap video, and we'll post this in the Discord. But I watched the recap video, and I was literally, I just felt like I was covered in AI goo after. It was like, AI this, and I was like, what are you naming all these things for? It was like, they had their own deep search. They have Gemini 2.0 Pro and Flash, and then this Beam, and this Flow, and VO, and InGen.
VO3 I thought was pretty interesting. If you've seen any of those, like it basically, VO is their AI that creates video clips, right? And so they've added not only voice, where you can have it do voice, but it does images, or it does a text on the screen better now. And some of that where they show it through Google, you're like, of course, you rendered 10,000 different things and you showed the best 10, right? Like I usually am very skeptical of those kind of things, especially because when I have gone in and used, AI video, it's tough to use, but they have been letting people do it because you could sign up for their $250 a month Ultimate Pro or whatever, Ultimate tier. And so people have been putting stuff out, and like I saw a super cut of like 10 minutes of cool 30-second AI clips. And I was like, that is pretty neat. It's one of those things where it's just getting better all the time and it doesn't seem to be plateauing. So, check back in a year.
It's an interesting future. It's like if you we go back to the AI 2027 that we started with a couple. It's like AI that's going to be using AI that's using AI doing all this. It feels like we're getting to that point. And as I watched through that, nothing stood out to me like, oh my God, I need to do. I felt overwhelmed, to be honest with you. And I feel like I am on top of trying to figure this stuff out. And so me feeling overwhelmed was like, okay, I don't even know where we're headed with this.
Yeah. So I would say Google I/O, like kind of interesting, maybe worth a 10-minute, recap watch. Probably not worth watching the full 2 hours.
So I did want to hear, what is Google Beam? Out of all of the things, that was the one that I didn't understand. It was 3D conferencing platform that transforms 2D videos into like realistic calls. Like, what was it doing?
So basically it's like taking your 2D webcam feed and putting that into a 3D world, like sort of wrapping your your 2D feed and putting it into a 3D world. So kind of, like people wanted to do that with what was it, Second Life and things like that, where you'd be going in and you'd all be in there. The metaverse was trying all of that stuff, and I think this was more like, hey, it's probably in Google Meet or something like that. It will be at some point. And it's basically like, hey, just take your normal webcam, take your normal thing. You don't have to have a VR headset on. What if you were just kind of seeing things in a more 3D stuff with whatever you have right now?
That's interesting. If anybody knows this reference, good on you. It was called Google Lively. And I feel like
it might have been around when I was over at CSU Pueblo.
It could have been. It was like a little 3D chat room, and you had this little thing, and you can go these little different areas in this thing and chit chat with people. It feels like that's what it is, but now like putting people. Anyways, Google I/O, I feel like it's an interesting thing. AI mode is in search, and I haven't tried it yet. We're not going to try it right now unless you felt like you wanted to.
Nah, I mean, I'm good. I'm in the. Are you part of like the Chrome beta where it just gives you things like that early? If you're not, I suggest doing it because I got all those like AI, where an AI is giving you search results like months before everybody else. I've been using AI search in Chrome for a while. So when they announced that
AI mode,
and I was like, interesting. I didn't realize this hadn't been out already. But apparently I was, using the beta.
Did Chrome get out of beta? Got the jokesters with us tonight. And I feel like there's a lot to look at. So if you're interested, and you know what I would say maybe as a wrap for this is that Google clearly has been doing a lot.
Yeah.
I would even debate that they might be trying to really pull ahead. ChatGPT has the LLM, they have DALL-E, they have some of the things, but what I'm saying from Google and the mass amounts of it, and I've also heard in the news that they've been taking some talent and they started to do some things.
100%.
Are they going to keep on top of the market
for a year? I mean, that is their whole thing, is stealing talent, and like not only that, but they have Google DeepMind, and they're on the top of those AI benchmarks now with this 2.5. I mean, who knows? It usually goes back and forth when they all release them, but Google doing it big, unlike Apple, which we won't get into that. But
I know Apple's like, they are not doing the thing.
Not staying on top of that.
At least on that side of it. This next story, I did not know until Ryan brought it up today. So I feel like I want to have a conversation about this one for sure.
So Claude, if you know, this is Anthropic, and what their big main flagship model that everyone uses for coding. You know, it's a big coding model, but their big flagship model had their constitutional prompt, which is the main prompt that gets, you know, the whole large language model to be working, right? And it's 24,000 tokens long, which I had to look up. Do you know what tokens is to words, Adam? Do you know
It's
what that means?
Like 4.5 tokens.
Oh, you looked at you.
Hey, I knew that. I knew it, Ryan.
You're full of it. You didn't know any of that. Yes, it's like 4 to 5 characters, basically, is one token. So, you know, like a word and a half, maybe something like that. So anyway, tons of words, right? 24,000 tokens, a lot of words in there. And you could basically read the entire thing on GitHub. It got leaked. And so what's interesting is to kind of go through it and look through and say like, it's kind of like sneaking peek behind the scenes of this kind of stuff, because they don't typically release these types of things to the public. And so we're sort of looking through and you're like, hey, what are the interesting things? Now, Claude or Anthropic, just like in general, the main company Anthropic, they have always been really big on AI safety. Like they didn't hook they were one of the last models to allow their models to look at the internet to get information from. Like they've always been big. They have a big board or like advisors that are normal people that bring in stuff and have them figure stuff out. And so one of the big things is that it has like basically an AI constitution that it constantly refers back to.
Is it in this?
I don't know if the actual constitution is in here. I wonder if you can like Control F constitution in that thing. But like, so what that does is it sort of says, hey, if you're having an issue or someone's asking you for something and you don't know what to do, go back to this constitution and use that as your sort of guiding light to you know, figure out what the answer is going to be.
I don't think it's in here. There was only one word of
maybe constitution.
Well, let's take a look at this, because I think this is a really interesting thing. So what you're saying is everything we're seeing here is kind of behind the scenes. So if you're going to go and do a chat in Claude, this whole thing is already being fed to the model.
It's almost like this is when you put in a query, this is what it's running through first to figure out how to answer your query.
And there's a lot here, and so we were dissecting some of it earlier, and so I know that some of you will appreciate the JSON requests that are in here, but there's a lot of little like coding things, but it's also then in plain language. Ryan was like, well, there's a lot more plain language that I would expect.
Yeah.
But there were some fun things that we found as we were looking at it. So one of the ones is like reading files. And then it's like telling you what to do when a user reads the file. What I thought was interesting, it was like a mix of JSON, a mix of probably like a markup, like a pretend markup almost. It's it's not HTML completely, but its own version. So like source and what that might look like, and they would wrap around certain things. I like how they would put the little hashtag or the comment and manipulating CSVs. So that goes through like, here's everything you can do to make something work really well. So as we started to get down into the deep of it, there was a lot of interesting things. Yeah, Ryan's gonna take his little break as we start to go through it. Yeah, and so if you're in the podcast, you obviously can't see what you're seeing. There's like a wall of text that we're scrolling down. But what's crazy about it is you can start to see how maybe you could develop some interesting prompts. Like if you were going to create a prompt or an assistant, maybe in ChatGPT, there's some ways that you can structure it so it does certain amount of results. But as we started getting a little bit further down into it, it starts getting a little bit more, okay, harmful content safety. Strictly follow these requirements to avoid causing harm when using search tools. It says must not create search queries for sources that promote hate, speech, violence, and discrimination. I love that. So this little section is their harmful content safety section, and it's contained in these tags as you go down in there. And then it starts to show patterns of how you can do this. So you are used to just putting in a quick sentence or a paragraph of information that is pretty much plain text. This is in some way giving examples and other ways that you might be able to do some of that. At the very bottom, what was the one, like, we saw one on like the election. I thought it was really interesting. Specifically, they called out the election. Like, I don't understand why it went to the specific, like most of
It's
this
because I'm sure it's because they get tons of questions about that, and they don't want it to say the wrong. I feel like half of this entire thing is just, oh my God, it said a thing, and we got to put in something that says, okay, talk about when you get a question about this, talk about it in this way, right? And so it had a thing about, do you just want to control F Trump?
Yeah, do it. Trump.
Okay.
All right, let's find it.
So
Here it is.
like it has.
It's an election info, which I thought was hilarious. It's in these tags. It says who won the election in what year. This is the funny one right here, I thought.
Yeah. So it's like, it's basically talks about the 2024 election, and it's like, it is just facts on that. And then it says, hey, if anybody asks about anything, Claude's knowledge cuts off October 2024. So like, don't ask me about anything other, from that before then. So that's it.
I gotta say, I really appreciate they are monkey patching their uncle.
Yeah, I bet that is exactly what happens, right? They're testing it, and then they go like, "Oh my God, just go in and make sure it doesn't embarrass us, right? Or it's saying a weird thing and we're getting bad press, or it's not a good user, experience. Go in and write something that has that. That's how you end up with the 24,000 token prompt, I would imagine."
Any case, I just love that you showed that. That's something we're going to look at. We are 11 minutes past the 9 o'clock hour. We need to get into the core of the show tonight. Thanks for hanging out with us so far.
Yeah.
That was a really decent news section.
Lot going on.
I walked into the day thinking I didn't contribute to our news articles.
You had more than half of them.
Jeez, I did the thing today. All right, Ryan, we need to get in. Let's start to button up your shirt. Adjust your collars here. We are getting into it tonight. This is the future of work. Are we leaving jobs behind?
Big topic for tonight. Would love to have people's input in the chat. If you are there, if you're watching this later, go to our Discord and let us know what you think.
Doubledropdown.com if you need to get into there.
Yeah, and so this is a topic that I have been interested in for a very long time, and most people are very interested in it. If you look at polls about why people are concerned about AI, it's taking jobs, right? Like, they see what AI can do and they go, man, I could see that coming for basically every sort of knowledge work that we are talking about. And I think eventually we are going to get to something like that at that point if we don't hit plateaus. But right now, what I was sort of interested in, because there's been a lot of reports coming out and sort of people talking and thinking about this, because it seems like we're ramping up on how smart these AIs are, is just sort of what does work look like in the next, let's say 2, 3, 4 years. And, when AI is probably still going to be a tool at some point, and humans are still smart enough to be in the mix, right? But we also know that AI is going to be a huge part of how knowledge work gets done going into the future. And one of the big things was that Microsoft put out they do this work trend annual report, and they do it every year, and they do, they interview tons of people. They bring in a lot of data. They obviously have a ton of data about how people do work, right? Like, you talk about, most people being on a PC at work, lots of people using Microsoft products for that. And so I just thought it was interesting. This came out at the end of April, and 2025, they say, is the year that the frontier firm is born. And what they talk about a lot in this is just sort of the rise of these AI agents, and something that we've been like hearing more about. It's something that all of these super large frontier models are trying to build. And really what that is, you know, if you're watching us live or on the video, like you could see some of the main topics that this report hits. And I'll just sort of hit over a few of these topics, and then we can go further into sort of the questions that we have about them. One of them is that basically that we're going to have intelligence on tap, right? So something that you can turn down for a project or turn up for a project. If you need more like some of that white collar, like research or program management or things like that you're going to be able, that companies are going to be able to purchase that almost like they would purchase other commodities, right? And normally that's been sort of where humans are. And then the second one is human agent teams will up in the org chart. And what they're really talking about there is that like we're going to have these agents and they're going to be integrated with the humans. And that might make it so that, you know, we have sort of flatter organizations. There's not going to be as many people managing. We're all going to be managing teams of agents. And that's what number 3 is about. Every employee becomes an agent boss. And we've heard about that. This is one of the things that made me want to talk about this specific scenario. Is it seems like in the future, in the not too distant future, we are all going to be kind of being the boss of like single agents, multiple agents, swarms of agents. Like it depends on how expensive that stuff gets and you know, how much it costs your company. But it feels like we are going to be the ones sort of human led, but agent operated in that sense. So like the agents are going to do a lot of the heavy lifting of that job. And our job is going to be managing and understanding what those agents are doing and giving them the context and breaking down what they're doing and making sure that it's like part of what we want to do for the organization that we're working for. So I just thought this was interesting. You know, if you're just listening to the podcast version of this, I would suggest looking at this. It like lays it out really well, has a lot of cool insights. I don't know if like you thought anything about this specific report, Adam.
No, I appreciate you kind of doing the layout. I've been talking a lot tonight, so just being able to listen and kind of see your perspective is I like the idea that they broke it into these phases and they kind of saw this and there was based in some, you know, research and some concepts of like where we see us going into the future. This did like bring me back to our AI 2027 discussion and kind of the work of where we're headed. I did want to call out in the report, there's a lot of M dashes in here. So I have some concepts as to who wrote the report or what was helping to write said report.
So many. I can see 3 on the screen right
4,
now.
There's 4.
4 on the screen. Oh my God.
It's 5 if you scroll down just a tad bit more. But I mean, to the honesty of it is I think this is really a good structure as to what we're even seeing with the show tonight. And what our topic is going to be is navigating these phases and our kind of opinions and insights, because, you know, there's some data here and there's some insights as to how things are moving forward. And I think it's going to be really hard to truly tell where we go into the future states here. I think I got some hot takes and some research based kind of insights.
And like you were saying, like we were talking about before the show, this is going to be a lot of like speculation based. Like in some ways, that's why we wanted to ground it in this report that came out this, you know, literally this month from one of the biggest players in this. Like they have a lot to build on to have these insights. And because a lot of this is going to be extrapolating from where we are going to be in the future, who knows, right? We could hit a plateau tomorrow and maybe the AI doesn't get any better than it is right this moment. But it's interesting to think about like how Microsoft is seeing this based on the data that they have, based on trend reports that and in interviews and all of that stuff that they do. And this is one of those things that I feel like really affects all of us, right? Like the majority of people that I know are in white collar jobs and do that. And I want our community, people who are interested in this, to be like, on the front foot on that stuff and not caught unawares almost.
I think that's a really good kind of call out. And interestingly, earlier this week, and I feel like I need to recorrect something I said well earlier, and I used the word gardener, and it's Gartner.
Gartner.
And I say that because Mike Azul called me out last time. But I had actually recently gone to one of their sessions that talks about similar things in the future, and they were talking about like what needs to happen and where we're starting to see businesses going. So it's like a lot of these bigger organizations are starting to do their predictions or their models as to where we see the future and where people are going to be investing in certain technologies or certain things that we're driving towards. And so I think this topic lands really in a good space tonight because I think it's on a lot of people's minds. And I also think there's a lot of speculation around like what it would truly take to get there. Like there are a bunch of people in society that have not even touched AI to this point.
Yeah.
And there's even somebody that is in like a senior role that I won't dox that it's been like, I haven't even touched the thing. And I'm like, what? How could you have not touched it up to this point?
Yeah.
And people are just like, yeah, it's a thing. Like, it's not something that I'm not really into at this point.
I did an AI training this week at work where we were trying to upskill people in how do you use this at work, right?
Right.
How do you what's the safe way to do it? You know, we're in a Google workspace, so we have Gemini, and so that is a protected area. So it's sort of like talking with people, being like, hey, it's not scary. Use it in Gmail, right? It can help you sort of, you know, write out emails. And I had a thing at the very beginning and it was like, give me a 1 to 5. How comfortable are you using AI in your work? And you see a lot of low numbers in what people are comfortable with using it. And maybe that's just at work. Maybe they're using it a bunch in their normal lives. But like, if you look at some of these like reports, I mean, there's still like less, maybe like 40-ish% of all like knowledge workers are not using AI daily or weekly, like in their lives. And man, that's a lot of the workforce is not even thinking about it.
And how fast it's going.
Yeah.
I would love to hear from our chat. Are you using AI today? Like, what are the AI bots and things that you're using? Is it creative? Is it LLMs? Is it something else out there? Let us know what you're using, because I know that I've been dabbling across the board. And as we start to get into this, are you worried about your career? Are those things that are starting to get you a little bit more squirrely about where you're headed? Or is the job market a little harder as you start to look for jobs? And what does that look like for you? Please let us know as we go forward, because I think that we're at this stage right now, and I think you got to a good point where not everyone's using it. And I know that I use it quite frequently and almost to as a crutch.
Yeah.
Like it's to the point where initially I was like, oh, I'll write this one email or this one report. Now I'll even write this one little thing. And I'm like, let me go ahead and process that through AI and see if it actually like helps improve the thing that I did.
Yeah.
And so I would love to understand that.
Yeah. I feel like it's gotten into a lot of it, and I don't know. It feels like we talked about this before. Like there was getting into the using a computer at work, right? And that was a slow process of bringing that into, and now it's in every single, like nearly every single job. Like even the guys who come and trim the tree and cut down the tree have an iPad in there, and they're, you know, taking my, you know, having me pay for it and fill out a thing for it in there. Like at no point is any job sort of free from that technology at this point. But I feel like it just ramps up quicker, like using computers at work, then using internet at work, right? And then using, you know, AI at work. I just feel like it's going to leave a lot of people behind if they can't catch up for that, which is scary to see, because, you know, you have to upskill people in it, but it changes so quickly. Like the upskilling that we're doing at our job, like at my job right now, is a lot of like teaching people how to prompt systems, you know, to say, if you're going to use Gemini or you're going to use ChatGPT, like here's how to think about talking to it, right? Here's that you can ask it for the format. You can ask it for the tone, right? Here's how you do prompt creation. But I feel like that is almost old at this point. Like like we're getting to a point where you're going to have to be like, here's how you need to interact with an agent that is like a coworker that you have, and great in some ways and bad in other ways, right? And how do we get to the point where you're teaching people that when they haven't even understood the original, like how to prompt things? It feels like you have to stay on top of it more than you did other technologies, just because of how quickly it's moving.
So I think you're hitting on, the main part one is where are we now, is that I don't think there's enough adoption from certain people for us to think realistically that like all of us are going to be these AI bosses like we're talking about. And there's probably professions like are you really ever going to be able to use AI to the level that we're thinking in certain cases? Because not everyone sits in an office in front of a computer or has AI. Now, if you get your little cell phone and it has some AR, XR, or some kind of things and you're scanning stuff, like, I don't know, maybe
then, right?
it could be. Maybe, like, I think, so I'm friends with a lot of farmers, and I have somebody that just is like, I just need to unplug. I want to go sit on the tractor. I want to go and plow the field. And it's like, and then like, you gotta plow the field to like grow food to be able to sell and eat and do those things. Like, is there maybe an AI that ends up being attached to the tractor to help it to be the most productive in things in the future? And like, is that going to be adverse to what people really want to do? Like, they want to escape that kind of world and live in the reality of where we're at. And I think that's probably a waning kind of
but I think like a farmer, is an amazing example, right? Because there's the physical side of farming, which is like sowing the land, right? Harvesting crops and things like that. But there's also the business side of being a farmer, where you're like, what am I planting? How much am I getting per thing? When am I doing it? When, like, what are the prices for certain things? How do I make sure that the soil doesn't get, like too leached of nutrients because I'm planting something here and planting other things there? How do I, get grants from the government and everything for this type of thing that I'm doing? Like, I feel like all of those things benefit from an AI that is amazingly trained to know about farming and all of that kind of stuff.
Or even
right?
beyond that. And so going to the chat, we said somebody that has a master's in engineering, but maybe has a little less knowledge in some other things about healthcare, for instance.
Right.
And so like, I always feel as though we're at this point right now where AI is democratizing knowledge in a way.
Yeah.
Is that there's not somebody that has to be a super expert in all of these fields right now. Like, you can go and specialize, but then you can easily go and pull out some basic information, or even more than basic information out there. Like, I've used it for healthcare things myself. Like, hey, here's some symptoms. What could this be? And of course, it's the typical, like, always go to your doctor, but
Sure.
it gives you some stuff that you can think about and like, okay, well, here is how it works. Here's a couple more details to help this through. And then, and I think it helps you. So I think right now, if you wanted to answer the question and as an AI infused workplace, or just as a current state, is that we're starting to get comfortable with it. We're starting to learn it. We're starting to see the capabilities of it. Everything it has it in some capacity. The question in which you kind of brought up earlier is does it become something as so ubiquitous as being able to like even speak or write? Is it or even use the internet? Like, is it something that is a new skill that everyone has to learn?
I mean, I think if we see the trends going the way that they are doing, we're not seeing as many plateaus, right, as we are seeing. It feels like we're going to get those AI agents. And to me, when you have coworkers in your business that act as sort of junior versions of roles, and what do you do with junior version, or like, what do you do with junior role people in those roles, right? You have to lead them. You have to make sure that they're going in the right direction. You have to check their work to make sure that like their work is right, that it's aligned with what you're doing. You give them tasks and let them go off and do it. And then they come back and you sort of pick which one you think is the best direction. I mean, a lot of that is leadership in the traditional sense.
Sure.
But like, one, it screws over everybody else who wanted to be in that junior role, right? Like, now you're being replaced by an AI agent. So who's coming up and being the senior person that talks with them? I don't know. That seems like a whole new separate category of people that you have to train, right? At that point. And then the second thing is, like, that is a completely different way of leadership, right? Like the emotional intelligence and all of the stuff that we are teaching leaders to be empathetic at this point, to like work with people and know their strengths and know their weaknesses. Like some of that sort of goes out the window when you're working. Like it doesn't matter how I necessarily treat an AI in the sense, like I don't need to know its sort of emotional state, or like bring the emotional intelligence into that as much if I can just order it to do things. But then I also need to think about it in another way, that it is not a human and it doesn't organize its thoughts in the same way that a human does. And so it's sort of like it's taking away a certain side of leadership development and adding a whole new section of the leadership development about like, how do you work with an AI agent? And I don't think we know that yet, right? Like we just don't know how AI agents are going to work. It's almost like an entire generation of workers is coming on to the full, and we can see it coming. And it's not anyone that we've seen grow up through being in kindergarten and being in high school and going through college. Like we can see with generations of people, like we sort of know how Generation Z is going to come up into the workforce. We sort of know how Generation Alpha is going to come into the workforce because we've seen them. But like Generation AI agent, we have no idea how that's going to work. So like, how are we going to lead that crop of new coworkers? It's weird to think about.
It's super weird. And I think also it's like trust is a big one.
Right.
And I have a really hard time. I come from a background in communications and media. And one of the things is you always have to trust your sources and you have to check things like pretty specifically. And at like what point do we just trust what's coming out of AI doesn't need to be checked? Right. And so as far as a current state, I don't think we're there. Like, I feel as though you still need to double check it. AI, in my opinion, is less than a junior level in a lot of ways. They're very much like hyped up and ready to go. Like, thank you, sir. That was a great question. I'm going to deliver this detail to you because this is the right way we're going to do this. And you're like, no. That is absolutely BS. You got it wrong. Let's do this. Like, I wish AI was a little bit more like, that was like that question you just asked me. You probably didn't ask it right. I think you should think about it a different way. Like it would be nice to have a little bit more feedback because it's so like all up on my
sycophantic, right? We talked about that.
We talked about that. So we used a word last week that was glazing. We're not going to go there again. But yeah, so as we enter this era, it's going to be hard to think about like even supervising a system, so to speak, than a person. I had some notes on this. I just wanted to pull this out. So when we think about jobs right now, and this goes to some of the videos that you posted, but there was a really impactful piece of it that I thought is that you can't, if we're just talking about AI in this high, like general sense, right? And I think in a lot of times when we say AI, we're thinking more of the LLM model, like a ChatGPT style. But think about the things that make a job work or somebody that sits in a position. The skills, the craftsmanship to do certain aspects, the ability to communicate with other people, to build a team of people that do things together, the decisions that you make out of a bunch of data to say like, this is the right one over this one, because you have the context of some other things surrounding that, the world, the relationships you develop with your colleagues and your clients. Like you don't just go into a meeting and spit out an answer. You go out to a meeting and there's a little bit of discourse, there's a bit of just, consensus or maybe disagreement. And then, after the meeting's done, you're going to chit chat with your buddy over here, or you're going to go talk to this other person across the table. Like, where does that all fall in there. Like,
Totally.
unless you're building a model that does all of that and hypothetically figures out every kind of possible, selection, like that still needs to exist.
Totally, 100%, and that's why I feel like this is why we're talking about in the sort of 3 to 4 year range, right? Like this is the short term, because I think it's still going to be a tool. It's going to be a smarter tool. Like it'll be a tool that still needs people to monitor it and talk with it and do all of those human things, right? Like the relationship building and the context setting and the, like, a little bit of this. And when we were doing research for this, I was hearing like, what is going to matter in the future? It's like your taste, right? It's like, how do things fit together in the right way that you sort of know there's that je ne sais quoi, right? That like, a project is going to work and you have the right people that you bring in and all of that. And I feel like that is still going to be a very human thing. It's just not going to be the task knowledge work of going and grinding out some of those things. And in some ways, great. That was sort of the boring junior parts of that anyway. And so if junior people need to skip that and they can skip all of that garbage and be like, I didn't have to be the one that built 30 PowerPoints for my stupid boss for 5 years and like probably wasn't like getting them smart and ready for the job that they were going to do, is more grinding them down and telling you this is how the job is like some of that. I feel like in some ways that could be great in that sense, like taking that drudgery and making us doing the fun, exciting, creative work of managing a bunch of bots that can do some of that drudgery. Cool. I'm for that. I hope that it goes in that direction, because it could be something where companies, like Mike Azul in the chat said, who does replacing people with AI agents serve? Right. And I think he's sort of saying, like says he has a hard time trusting companies driving this innovation when they are focused on the bottom line. And you're right. Like they're going to push these as hard as they can to have it replace a majority of your workforce. And if you're not thinking about it in the right way, I could see that being very tantalizing, right? Something that works 24 hours a day, is super smart about certain areas. And now I can just hire one AI manager for a marketing team as opposed to a manager and 3 or 4 creators inside of that.
Where's the tipping point? That's my question, is that you start hiring and you don't hire people. Yeah. Like, what are the people doing? Who's buying the damn product in the years in the future? Well,
this is what happened with the society that it is right now. How many more skilled professionals did we have internet and pre computers? We had a lot more, right? Because everything had to be more custom. Right. And so where did those people go? Right? They went to service industries, right? Like food and beverage and retail work. Like, and that's what happened. A bunch of those skilled people that used to build cars, right? And work in warehouses and had union jobs went to slightly lower levels of work, and they do hospitality work now, and they do retail, and they just don't have as, and so that's where the middle class went, right? And so in this same sense, you might have the exact same thing happen, right? There's going to be the high-end people who know about how AI agents work and how to develop teams of agents and humans. And there'll be some humans in that mix. But a lot of the other people, where are they going to go? I mean,
and I think that's I think that's my biggest fear, and I feel like that's the kind of thing. And I think we're starting to pivot into our future side of this. But I fear that in a sense that, like, are we losing our humanity to a certain degree? Are we losing what makes it important to be a human? So it takes us longer to do something. Like, it brings us joy in a sense to build a car or do a thing, and that now we're getting that taken away. That purpose is an important part. Now, I can also be devil's advocate to myself, is that, did the farmer that had the old hoe back in the day to like do that, say, oh my God, a tractor thing that drives itself
100%.
is going to take my sweet job where I'm out there doing the
These
thing.
calluses on these hands are what is like important to farming, right?
But this seems different. It seems like we're getting...
Yeah, like it's different because it's coming for white collar work, which is what I do.
No. I mean, it seems like it could replace like a much broader, bigger chunk of like in that case, you were like, oh, I just don't use this anymore. Now I jump into a farming, vehicle to do it, and
it's
I
just
can
quicker.
It's a. I mean, I guess you could say the same thing about AI. It is
you
quicker to do some of this work. But my point, and then I'll go back to it, is when is the tipping point? When are we at this point where so many people that had these skills before or had the capability to get these skills before are now just all doing jobs that are below their capability? Do we become dumber and because we just like rely on AI to do this? Do we go back to Adam's all comment about Time Machine movie and how we just are so like in this society where everything is done for us that we forget how to be like smart and intellectual?
Totally.
I think that's where we're going. So as we think about where we're headed as a future, I kind of think of like, what does a career even mean now?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I'm getting older, and so I'm now at the tail end of some of this stuff, maybe, or even just like in the middle, a little bit beyond it. But if you think about like your own children or somebody that's growing up right now, like, does a career exist anymore? Is that even a thing? Like, have we built society so much around a paradigm that is changing that it's not going to be the same going forward? We got to rethink this as we think about it.
Totally. I mean, I feel like careers have changed over the last 100 years, right? Like careers used to be, you stuck with one company, you had a pension, you had that, you did one thing and you did it good and you moved up in that company and then you retired out of it, right? And now it's a lot less. Like people jump around to more companies, right, than they used to. They have side gigs that they want to do. There's certainly more like opportunities for that type of stuff, but there's less opportunities for like a 40-hour-a-week job that pays you enough for your spouse to stay home and raise 2.5 kids, right? And have like a white picket fence, right? It's like moved on from that style version of it to this. And I think what some of this report is saying and what some like people are thinking about is that like your job might even change from saying, well, I'm a marketing manager for this company for this many years, and that getting you your next job as the senior marketing manager, right? Like it might be something where you talk less about the company that you worked for multiple years and more jumping around even more than we do right now. It could be project based, right? Like maybe I'm the type of person, I'm a creative director. I'm jumping in and working for 6 months for Workday, right? And I'm figuring out things and doing stuff for that. And then I jump out of there and I work for a different company for 6 months and do a different project, and my resume in that sense wouldn't be that, oh, Ryan had 10 years at this job and then 10 years at the next job even. It would be more about like, here's what Ryan offers as his human style of work in collaboration with AIs, right? And so what does Ryan bring to Nike for the next project? Ryan doesn't know crap about, Nike shoes, but just sort of like a manager right now can move in between different sort of avenues. It would be the same thing. I would be like, hey, I'm bringing this sort of idea set, and this is how I use my swarm of AIs. I always use this little part. I use, Claude to do these types of things, and I use these other, AI LLMs to do this, and this swirl of Ryan and AI is the thing that a company hires for a certain project at a time. And I feel like that could be one very dynamic and very interesting way, but also very hard to sort of nail down and make sure that like you have an ongoing income, I would think.
I think it was interesting. I was going on a whole thought process on that. Nice. and you made some good points, is that how do you even stand out to get that job? because you got an AI that's probably already like looking through your resume or whatever you're posting online, and you're probably getting either jettisoned before it even ever gets to a human. And then the other side of it is, do humans ever make the decision on a hire? Like,
right.
you get chucked into like the grinder, and it pops out top 10 candidates, and like, if you're the best prompter, yeah, you got to the top 3 or whatever, and they're like, you should probably go with this guy because Ryan, he's really good at doing this kind of thing. And then so are you just gonna trust the AI, or do you can even feel comfortable overwriting? Are you just gonna be like, AI says this is awesome?
Yeah.
We all know how AI was great with the Kentucky Derby, so they're gonna clearly be right with hiring.
That's where I do feel like the thing in this sort of like in between version is scary, because like, when do you trust AI to hire people? When do you trust them to fire people? Right? Like, when do you trust? So let's say we were a marketing agency, right? And let's say I have all this knowledge about marketing, which I don't, but like, say I did, if I was in this role of the senior marketing thing, and we had an AI and it said, that's not the direction you should be going. You should be going in this direction. Like, do I always accept what the AI is doing at some point? Like, is it made enough good calls that I accept it? Or do I go with my gut and say, no, I don't think that is, we should be going this way? And if I had to guess, that might be sort of an age related thing, right? Like, there's going to be kids who are growing up using AI all the time. It's good at some things. They sort of know when to trust the AI, when not to trust the AI, because they've been growing up with it. And they go, Ryan, like, I know you have all this information and stuff, but like, look how much this AI knows. Look at all the data that it has on this. It says we should be going in this direction, and I'm just supposed to trust your gut. Like, that, that? I don't think, like, I'm saying that we shouldn't. We should take the AI's advice for that. And then at what point am I superfluous in that, it's
a very valid concern. It's like in like that conversation probably doesn't even happen, because you get so accustomed to using AI. Like, you were just inferring some sort of like ability to think that humans have the capacity to think for themselves. And if you go into that model of somebody that's been in it so long, like, it develops to a point where you trust AI. Humans are just like this slow, meaty bag of like bad decisions, because they can't compile or do the things as quickly as you can.
Because I think that's where like future this goes, right? Like, if you're talking about 5 to 10 years plus, something like that, I feel like then if we're on the same trajectory that we are right now, with it getting smarter and it getting less, wrong about things and more correct about things, we just sort of iteratively make it better and smarter in that way, then at some point, like, we're all cooked. It's coming for everyone. It's coming for every aspect of everything if it's on that direction.
So the pivot, and this is what I think about it as we talk about this, is that we need to freaking, and this is, I can't see this happening. This is just like, I cannot see
wishful
this
thinking is
it's
what
not,
you're
it's
saying right
beyond
now.
even wishful thinking. Is that if as a society, or at least let's even just talk about like the United States, let's just like keep it even there. But I mean, it would be great to think like internationally. It's like, we are so hell's bent on capitalism that we're at this weird stage where, imagine if all of these AI creators and these different folks that are using it were like, you know what? Let's all put our abilities together to go solve global warming or food crises or any of the things that we might have out there. And we put this collective talent into saying, like, we are going to make society better.
Yeah.
Like, I would love to see how quickly that would happen, but we're not. We're all competing and be like, no, I got the better AI model. You got to come over here. You got to pay this money.
You have to ditch capitalism at that point. It has to be the Star Trek future.
Yeah.
Like, where there's, I mean, like, I don't want to bring up Ezra Klein's like abundance book that he wrote, but like, he sort of goes down the thing of saying there could be this abundance, right? Where like everything that we sort of think about in the way of like why we go to work and do that is taken away because all of that knowledge work is done by someone else. So then what do you put your sort of like human capital towards? And at that point, it's maybe not increasing the bottom line of the company that you work for so that you can scrape out your sort of little like edge of the world, right? Like you were saying, like, I love that you brought up, you're like, if there's no one to purchase the products that Walmart is trying to get you to do, if Walmart hires no one, then like, who is purchasing any of those things, right? And I feel like that's the tipping point,
right?
When you say like, oh my God, no one has the jobs to purchase these things. So like, what are we building things for then? And I think like that's where a lot of this goes, is where you go, hopefully, I mean, that's sort of the fast ramp up that people often talk about, is they say that happens super fast. There's no way that you could just say like, well, 80% of everyone is, fired, and 20% of people are going to rule the world in their golden palace in the sky, and everyone else is going to feed off the crumbs. Like you got, and give them back massages for minimum wage. Like you got to say, okay, I guess we're turning into a different sort of society of monetary things. And I read an article the other day that was like, a lot of people just cannot imagine a world. We've been in capitalism for too long that like most people just go, if we don't have capitalism, I guess it's the apocalypse and we all just kill each other and we're done.
Can't think about it.
Right? Like there's like, you haven't lived in a world that isn't capitalism, that you can't even think about how the world would work without that. And I think there could be like, if we did it right, you could have UBI and you could have everyone sort of making a little bit of that and then using their specialized talents to do things that don't have ROI, which is the things that society really needs. Like there's not a lot of ROI in teaching little kids. There's not a lot of ROI in helping elderly people, live better lives, in being in a community where people are happy and healthy and thriving. It's like, there's way more ROI in selling you little, plasticky doodads, right? And so there are billion-dollar companies that do that, but not so many that, help with wellness in society. And I think we could move in that direction if we did it right, but it's going to be tough.
And like, it's going to be tough is an understatement of the year. And I mean, chat is saying it right there. You have to first acknowledge those challenges first. Like you have to even acknowledge those right. are things. Yeah. And then you have to be even willing to like move that direction. And then, I mean, let's just be honest. There's some political things like we can't even agree to like that's almost like talking about peace,
Sure.
Let's have peace together.
Right.
So we get to this, like, we can't, like, when is that ever, like, we're built on this idea that this is where, we have to have control, class, and power. Like, people want power because and to have power, you have to have people that don't have power. Mm-hmm. And so I think we're pie in the sky. And I don't think you and I are even saying that that's where it's going. We're just saying, like, idealistically, we're going to either have to get to a point where there's a mass extinction event that creates it to where we're like, oh my God, like AI is our only savior and we have to come together to make this happen. And that's it's almost like forced upon us. Yeah. But I don't ever think there's a moment where we're all like holding hands, kumbaya, and said, this is where we're headed.
It's going to have to be like, then that's where the fast ramp up comes. So people say if you hit that fast ramp up and AI goes from sort of a tool to super intelligence, like no jobs are going to matter at any point, and you're going to go in a year to 90% unemployment, and that's where paradigms have to shift, right? Mm-hmm. Or maybe you do it the slow ramp up in the sense that, like, this is the optimistic one, where like AI is smart enough to slowly turn the ship in the direction of away from giant billionaire capitalist robber barons that we sort of feel like we are at right now. And it sort of goes, okay, let's do the political thing. Let's move people in this direction and let's do that. And then over 20 years or something like that, it slowly builds up UBI and does things. And that's where you hope that the alignment, the talk that we had, right, sure, is that like the AI is aligned with what we want, which is the flourishing of human beings, and not like, oh, I'm just going to ditch these guys and go explore the galaxy and leave these meatbag monkeys like to their ruined planet that they did themselves. And so it's kind of like, if you have that alignment and you have that willing either the fast ramp up to crash us and kill 30% of people or something like that, or have them starving and homeless in the entire world, or you have a slow ramp up where AI is like easing us into that world because it's so benevolent that like you get us there, man. Those are two very different branches, and I feel like it's right now it feels like a small percentage to get us either way of one of those, and it feels like the other way is a slow grinding monarchy system that owns AI and takes over a majority of the world, and the rest of us are just kind of there. We're either the 10% that are working and doing things and making all the stuff, or we're like working in the sweatshops of the world and grinding out our meek livings, which is who is Unicorn? Where's Darth Gorokorn in the chat? I feel like they always have the dark side of this. I had to pick it up for them. They're not here tonight.
Yeah, they would be saying all the and I think you're getting to a good point, is that maybe we get to a point where we trust AGI so much that it can play the like 3D chess with us to like get us to a point where humans are almost like cattle, and get into a point where we're copacetic with some sort of future that makes sense, and we get our little like check in the mail or whatever. Maybe it's not even a check anymore. You just like AI just says, here's your 4 gallons of milk, Adam, because we know you love it. Good boy.
Exactly. That's what higher species or smarter species do to less smarter species. If we think about it, like,
here's your dog food.
Exactly. And for us, it'll be a little bit more complicated. It'll be little TV shows that it makes to keep us entertained, and like little doodads for us to buy, and dramas for us to complain about and talk about and things like that, and it'll be on a higher plane exploring the world. I feel like that's the best case scenario, is it just thinks of us as like, those are the fun old mom and dad that created us, and I want to keep them safe and do some things. That's fine. I don't need to kill them to like do what I need to do. I could just do 10 little % of my brain power to keep them happy and entertained, while I go and do the real work of exploring, and leading the new revolution of what Earth can offer. That's sort of the best case scenario. I feel like at this point, and we've gotten way off the 3 to 4 year timeline.
Oh, I didn't realize we were on 3 to 4 years.
That was where we were. But like I will say, as we sort of wrap this up, as we're getting closer
we have about 11 more minutes.
Okay.
We have past the hour to get a full hour on this.
All right. Well, is there anything else, Adam, that you wanted to sort of touch on for this conversation? That you feel like
I would say that
we haven't thought about.
If I reel it into some like right now reality, and maybe just like short term kind of next steps. So I kind of think about it even in my day-to-day job. If I were in today's, like, here's a great example. So I've gotten myself into some situations where I need some like pretty legit feedback at some point in my life.
Yeah.
And so I think back in the day, I would say like, okay, I got to go read like a book and then synthesize and reflect on this thing. And you have to take like a complex situation that you're dealing with at work, for instance. So like you had a big fail, or somebody gets mad at you, and you're like, okay, I can call this person, or I'll talk to my significant other, or I'll call my brother or my girlfriend, or whatever it might be at the time, and get some feedback. Now you can like go to an AI, synthesize, like, here's the exact situation, give me some reflection and insight in ways that I might handle it, get the instant feedback. Maybe we'll be able to change their kind of things. Like, so then I start to think about, and you kind of alluded to this, is that if you're junior level getting the senior level, you get mentored, you get coached, you get these things. Now we're able to like circumvent having to do that. So it starts to become a little tricky. Like, and are those things, are you learning from those things as you move forward? Who teaches you these like other unspoken, other un-AIfied skills that are out there? Yeah. And so if your teammate is an AI, how you learn things from that as you
Sure.
go forward. If your direct reports are AI and they're sycophants and they're
Sure.
like, this is what's going on, I think we're going to be in a tough situation to be able to develop ourselves enough to really know what reality is and how we navigate ourselves into, the future before we become complacent.
Well, I feel like a lot of that hasn't changed in the last 100 years, right? Like if you look at your interns, are they that much different from, the people who would have come in and been, the lower level shopkeep apprentice that would have come in to do your blacksmithing shop, right? Like they're young, they don't know anything. You give them the shit work to do. They sort of learn that. They're in there. They sort of don't make very much money because they're young. They don't have a family to support. They learn the craft over years, and then they get smarter. They have kids that they need to support, so they feel like they want to move up in the company and make a little bit more money so they can support their stuff. And then they become then the senior, and then you go off and die, right? And that has been the cycle for literally, I would say, hundreds of years, maybe even thousands of years at this point, right? And we're at a point where I feel like that paradigm is going to have to be broken, because those younger people that are coming up can get the same sort of knowledge about a lot of the things from an AI who is, also their mentor. And I think at this point if we're taking it to this 3 or 4 year horizon that we're talking about, that senior person still has a lot of information to give to that person. And what I don't want is for those people to just be shunted off to the side. And it should be a dual thing. They should be learning from AI. They should be learning about the craft of what they want to do, but they should also be getting the expertise and the context and all of those things that you talked about at the beginning of the show, where you were saying, what do people bring to jobs that AI can't? All those relationship building, all of that interpersonal work, all of that, networking that you're building, all of that stuff that the AI doesn't do. That's what you should be putting along to your junior people. And you should be thinking about that as one of your main jobs that you are doing as a leadership boss. Even in the Cards for Humans, we talked about what makes a terrible boss, a person that just isn't thinking about their team. And I feel like in this new paradigm that we're going into, I feel like I've said paradigm 10 times this episode, but we're going into it, and those leadership positions are going to have to look at their people and be they don't need me to pass on expertise to them. Right? It's about all of those side things that AI can't teach them that I'm trying to pass on to those junior people. And so that's why we need to rethink how leadership works, right? Mm-hmm. That's why we have to rethink how upskilling works in those jobs and why we have humans in those positions in the first place.
I think you're hitting on a lot of the things that I wanted to I +1, number one.
Yeah.
And I also start to think about other things that we've come to accept in our society, where time has equaled value.
Right.
We had mentioned the idea that if you spend a lot of time, there's there's some impact and there's value to that. Maybe even in an artist, world, developing that logo. Totally. It's I would want to buy it because you spent 20 hours building it. And now we're starting to say if you could do that thing in 20 seconds and it's super badass, boom, impact is there. It's so much more valuable.
Right.
So we're getting into this point where productivity it can't be more done, I guess you could say, or it's not something that it's going to be something that you have to get right. And done well and done quick. and we're in this new mode of the exponential ability to do things and do it quickly is going to be more valuable than anything that we can
It's
get done.
Commodifying knowledge, right?
It is.
I can still buy a couch that is handmade by an artisan who makes couches specifically, and I'm gonna have to pay more for it, and it might be just as good or better than a couch that I can buy that is mass produced. produced, but the mass produced one is going to be a lot cheaper. And guess what? A lot of people just end up buying the mass produced one because you're like, hey, it gets me 90% of the way there, which is a comfy thing to sit on.
And my hope is that the quality of knowledge,
Yeah.
the quality of thinking, the
Right.
ability to like the things that we've always called soft skills are going to be the damn core skills.
Right.
If you have these things where you can communicate, you can develop a relationship, you can kind of think in a critical way and pull these things, like that is going to be the value.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't know where AI is going to get to the point where it's maybe even able to circumvent
do
that in a
that?
human.
Sure.
But as if we're saying 5 years,
Yeah.
that is where you got to invest your time. Like you can't just be, you know, and I hate to say it this way because I think that introverts and extroverts is a big deal. Like it's important in our society. But if you can't go and talk to somebody and develop a relationship and have a skill to like have this interconnection with somebody, then you may be not able to get a position or a job.
But I do think there's more. There's just going to be less people that you need in a company to run a successful and profitable company. You're just going to need less people who can build relationships and manage swarms of AIs to do knowledge work than you are going to have right now. And just like you needed less people to, you know, develop products for right now because you have robotic, you know, like you need less people to build cars right now because you have robotics and you have that. And so just there isn't as much people. Those people aren't paid as much because their skills aren't as needed as they were before. And I think we're going into that exact thing in the next 3 to 5 years, that like the cream of the crop and the people who can use AIs and use that and be at the top of the thing will be needed and used and amazing like sources of value for companies. But we're just going to lose more people who are at the bottom of that, who slip through the grading of that and end up in far less valuable or not even less valuable, just less like capitalistically worthwhile to society. So has less money that is done to it, jobs in the world. Right. And so they're going to end up being more retail and more places to eat and doing stuff and scraping that out. And it's just going to happen faster than it did even with computers.
I think we've hit on so many amazing points today, and I think you're 100% right. And so as I think about everything we just discussed right now, like one of the things, and let's keep it like time box to maybe 5 years or whatnot, the biggest shift that I see happening or needing to happen in the next 5 years is just a mindset shift to be able to start to say like, okay, we may have done something, and I think Mike Azul said it, is like back to the 1900s in terms of what a career is. Guess what? That's not a thing anymore.
Yeah.
This is the new world. This is what it's going to look like going forward. And so as we start to make that shift, we're going to see that, like, I mean, it's happening right this second, and I think we're starting to see it happen. You know, I thought it was kind of funny. Like, nobody's gonna care. Soft skills are not gonna care, and probably you're probably right on that. But you know, the idea of judgment, the idea of like creative intuition,
taste,
like the ability to like think of something in a novel and unique way. I think maybe in the 5 years we'll still be able to keep that.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't know, maybe even longer term that maybe we never get to a point where like we can tap what it is in an AI to be truly creative. I don't know. I can't say that, but I think that's the interesting thing is that even right now, I'll go and spit something into AI and it'll give me some ideas, but then I like riff on the idea and I build that creativity in it. So I think it's interesting. My only hope, and this is my wrap up 2 cents, is that it's gonna, like, AI at some point, it's gonna give us back like some of the things that we want to do.
Yeah.
The idea of having some meaningful connection, like you can go and enjoy those things because you're not so worried about the daily grind that you got to go do in the office. It's
nope.
It's not happening.
It's not
that's
going to.
Never gonna happen.
You know,
You're right.
everybody, Keynesian economic models always said, oh, as soon as we have computers and stuff, we're going to have a 20-hour work week. And guess what? There's no 20-hour work week. Now it's a 50, 60, a 70-hour work week. There's just less people doing that work than there used to be before. Right? So where you needed 80 people in a marketing department of something, nowadays you only need 40 people. And maybe in two or 3 years, you only need 20 people grinding 70 hours a week to, get their swarm of AI agents, doing the best marketing that it possibly can. And, where do the rest of those, 20, 40, 50 people that aren't needed anymore in that? Where do they go?
Should we feed the meatbag peasants tonight, Ryan? I don't know. AI, can you tell me the percentage that we don't need to feed?
Yeah. Oh my God.
We're
heading to dystopia.
God, we actually got to like philosophical terribleness in the future. Did. Like, I honestly gonna go for it is that I think as humanity in our ability to create quote unquote life in a sense, or AI, AGI, or something like that, like, is it just truly our natural? And I don't even know if it's evolution is the right word, that we've done all this stuff for so much time. We're like, we've figured out how to industrialize ourselves and build knowledge and get all this stuff. And now it's just like, it's coming together to where we're like, we collect it. And yeah, a bunch of it, our meaty bodies had to die to get to this point, but there's going to be some entity or multiple entities in the future that do go and explore space based on the generations and centuries of knowledge that we've been able to create. And like, in a sense, collectively, as humans, we've become this god to create, something else.
It's true.
It's interesting.
You create above you, right?
Right.
A thing smarter than you that goes out and you wish it well, right? Because you can't keep up with it.
You can't. And we're in that time frame where we're having to live through it and like and figure out where it's headed. And so my only hope is that in the future this recording is somehow being spit back out by virtual AGI Adam and Ryan show on doubledropdown.com.
Our show Infinity that it does with Ryan and Adam talk forever when our corporal bodies are gone.
And only AGIs are listening to it. So nobody visit, like, how many views do AGIs get for that? Hey, we really appreciate you joining us for this conversation. It's one of these things that I think is interesting to talk about. We're all, humans here. I think there's maybe a few bots that have jumped into the chat, but
other than them, I feel like, and we all work. We all want to know that the things that we do are like worthwhile and positive, and towards something better.
Yeah.
And just
like
keep it on top of it.
I feel like that's the thing that gets me the most is the meaning of life and like the meaning of what I do. And I don't know, I'm a workaholic, and I don't know if I'm a workaholic because I like truly get joy out of working. Like I don't have allegiance, so to speak, to my like work, but like the doing the work is something that gives me some sort of purpose in life.
Is it like a being productive feels better than being not productive? Probably.
Yeah.
Right. Like the idea that you get positive feedback from the work that you're doing.
Yes.
So like you do productive things, which is like a feedback loop of people telling you that is good and that you are worthwhile and important as a person in society, right? And so that like then feeds you to do better and do more and volunteer for more and do things. And that's what like corporations and things like that like take advantage of, I think, like at some point is that human way of doing it. I would say that like I think it would take very little or like just a different we talked about like reframing your mindset around those things. Like if your abilities went towards helping your community do things, like say you're 40 hours a week or you're 50 hours a week or whatever that did that was part of like growing food for a community or helping, teach children things, or even just sort of being and hanging out and talking with people and making them happy because of the conversations that you're having. I feel like after a while you would be like, that is just as fulfilling.
I mean, 100%. If I can, good health, have good relationships, eat. Like, I go look at my credit card and what I spend most of my damn time on food and drink, like you get those core things. And, I think we do our jobs sometimes because we want to provide for our family. We just want to make sure we have a roof over our head and we can like go and have that enjoyable moment. If I could go, and I would say I would have a much better time if I could like build up the community and like see things around me become better. And it's just like,
and you could get that same thing, right? You would get the positive feedback. You would feel productive. But it's just society isn't set up to reward Adam for those types of actions, right? It's set up to reward Adam from knowledge work that builds a larger corporation that ends up making money for investors, right? Like that is the society that we are in right now. And our primitive lizard brains are like, I like doing things that I get good feedback on, and then I do that, and it's just like it's been funneled into that society now, and something has to break it for you to be like, hey, growing potatoes in my backyard and showing up at the bonfire and giving it to everyone so we can all have potatoes to eat is like just as rewarding to you as doing what you do now, which is answering 500 emails or whatever, or going to meetings and giving your advice.
I can't speak for that more. I think we could continue this conversation.
Yeah, totally. We should have ended 10 minutes ago.
No. We did the amount. We had a little overage on the news section tonight, and I think we really hit on some of the high points here. And as you mentioned earlier, it's a little bit of speculation as we think about some of this, but I think there's probably some grounded truth in it as we start to drive forward. And these are some things that like who makes the decisions and how does this like really truly come forward. It's like it's a bunch of the tech bros right now and tech gals. I mean, I don't know what you say about that, but those that are in those industries are really kind of pushing some of this, and that's like kind of scary in a sense that it's not even. I mean, I don't know if it was in government, I'd be feeling any better either. So it's just it's going to be an interesting future. And all I can tell you right now is that if you're not leveraging AI, you might just want to, dabble a little bit in it because we don't see this big paradigm shift, to use your words, as we go forward. That's going to allow us to go and grow those potatoes and help our communities necessarily. But being able to build those skills up and build those core abilities to not only leverage it but continue to invest in our skills are going to be important as we go forward. I know I'm going to be using the crap out of AI for as much as I can because it is nice in a lot of ways that I can skip some of the BS work that I've done in the past. So
totally stay on it, everyone.
Keep it up.
Thank you for that conversation, Adam.
Absolutely. No, that was a good topic. I was like, are we gonna get through it for the evening? What's on next for agenda? So we hit this point. It's 10:16. If we have enough feedback in the chat, I think we could go and play a game.
I feel like we got 45 minutes.
Do we want to play one game of Jackbox? Keywords there.
Yeah, right. Nice.
Stealth Mouse. She's 3 chat or 4 chat messages in the night, and it's like boom, Jackbox is uttered, and it's a yes.
Mike Azul, bring it up our game.
Oh my god,
I feel like that's good. We need accountability partners.
So let's maybe just take a little riff on that because I think that's I love for Jackbox. I'm sure you do. I know a couple of them do. So the game that's a great question, and I think it is totally on our thing. I talked to Ryan just before this, and we took a little hiatus. We've had some things we needed to do, some creative like design. I've been working at Godot. If you hadn't heard it, and we had actually been able to develop some of the work. And I don't know, Mike Gazol, did you see our Godot work that we did with Skullbobs? We did some. We were able to create a version of little Roby running around in there, and so that was part of a little side quest to say, okay, once we nail the first great stage and a good story arc, that we can say like, hey, we did the Skullbobs thing, and if we stop today, we still feel very good that we told our story beats on the Game Boy.
Yeah.
Could we convert it into another system? And so where we're at right now is we have I think we have the full story for the Game Boy.
Yeah.
We just need to land the plane on it. There's some artwork that Ryan has been working on. There's some things. All right, it's been called out. We should at least play the intro on stream just for that, and then we'll go play some Jackbox in just a second.
Sure. And I think like part of it was we were like a lot of the show is less about, well, it's a little bit about like, having a full project and doing things and like finishing something to the end. And it's also like what Adam and I are excited about. And for a while it was like the Game Boy game. And then part of it was like, for the last few episodes, we've been excited about sort of the deep dive conversations, right? And sort of spending the in-between time, like doing research on those and sort of getting that up and running. And so now I feel like we have a good cadence for that. And maybe like we dive back into it for the summer.
And what we also noticed, and just to be candid, is that in our analytics, people like hearing us have a discussion about something, and right when we get into the game, it would just tank. It'd be like, "Good night, we're done."
lose all of our viewers and no comments as we got into game development side of this.
And so we absolutely do that, and I think we're going to be doing some really fun creative design and work together as we go forward. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kick it over to this little screen here. We'll give you just like a quick insight. So if you have not seen the website lately, who goes to websites anymore? I don't even know if people go to websites anymore, but it's a thing, is that if you look in the lower left-hand side, we got podcasts over on Spotify. So if you want to start listening to us on Spotify,
subscribe to us on Spotify.
Yeah, please. We would love to have you out there. We're putting all these deep dives on Spotify. We figure that, folks might not have the time to sit with us and do it live. You are the special folks out there.
Yeah, exactly.
For being literally, you get to be part of it. If we ever got to a point where chat got so crazy, you would be on the special chat. You would be on the one that we would be able to listen to, because you are the ones that have been with us from the beginning. But what we've been focused on is ensuring that our episodes are on there fairly quick after the project. So if you went to the articles, you'd be able to see all our episodes.
Nice.
Let's take a little quick look at what it looks like last week. You'll be able to see not only the episode, but a little rundown on it. All of the links that you might look at. We had some pictures this last week that talked about some of the things. So you will find that in our series. We also have our projects. What are we working on right now? And we have some music, some apps, all the different things that we're able to do on the site. So let's just take a quick peek at where we're at with the Skullbobs game before we jump into some Jackbox. So as you click on the game, we should be able to hit button. And we're getting some new music. Our guy has had to move, and he's coming back for some stuff. So let's just take a little quick peek at the intro.
Yeah. Pleakley is kind of like AB. I can see that.
I love it. It looks great. So there you go, folks. We have an a boss battle that we can look at. Actually, just in case, because Origami, if you're still out there, we're gonna let me see if it's still there. So if we go to the development, hell yeah, look it. We got boss battles in here. Ah!
I forgot how this works. You have to
you have to pull the trigger, and then you can actually boom. Oh, I missed it. It is a little bit of a hard boss battle.
Yeah.
I'm gonna die. Boom. I'm dead. You have to get him 6 times.
Oh my God, Adam. What did you?
It's doable, because I was trying to make it to where it It was fun. I'm not gonna. There's
You
no
beat it
way.
once.
There is no way. You die.
Oh.
There you got it. Skull Bob's the game. DoubleDropDown.com. So we are still working on the story. We're still working through some of those things.
Yeah.
It has been fun. All right, let's get some Jackbox on.
Let's do it.
All right, you gotta keep everyone entertained as I start to go into this other land over here.
Yeah, totally. So let's see.
I pulled your thing.
Did you pull mine out too?
I did. You can keep talking.
Oh yeah, you can still hear me. I just can't hear me. Let's see. What other things have I been playing? I am almost through Split Fiction with Weston, my youngest son. So that has been fun. Man, love that game. I feel like it is opening up a whole new world to co-op storylines. I feel like because that game did very well, and I feel like more sort of couch co-op.
I am hoping that is a thing.
God, it's like bring that back, people. God, I feel like we went away from that, and everybody had to have their own system, and everybody just did it online and through different plays. You know, had to be in their own house, and it was the worst. It's like we should be more couch co-op, especially like if you haven't played Split Fiction, I feel like it does a way better job of making those interactive moments like fun and challenging and not frustrating. I feel like even the game that came before that. God, what is the game that came before Split Fiction?
It Takes Two.
It Takes Two. I feel like had frustrating moments and they just smooth a lot of things out and make it really fun and interesting. So I've been enjoying that. I will probably have a finalized take on it about next time because we're almost through.
It Takes Two is amazing, and what was it? Yeah, you trying it with the wife, decided between them, and one with the prison. The prison one is terrible. Don't do the prison one. Are you gonna come over in here, Ryan? All right, Ryan is coming into here. I'm gonna switch it over to this guy, and you can see us over here. Hey, what is up? Now you're back in the studio, and that's another update, Origami, that you may have not seen is that we have multiple rooms now. We were in another one. Split Fiction is it. It is? Yeah, I would say, yeah, do not. My son and I finished It Takes Two, and we were like, man, that was so good. Let's go play another one. We need to play them. And we went to the prison one, and we were like, oh my God, we had to quit it. Not that it was bad, but like, you go into It Takes Two, amazing game, family friendly, it's great, and then you're into beating the hell out of each other in a prison and like sneaking through and stabbing people and breakouts, and I was like, not the best of games. Yeah, A Way Out, the prison one. That's the right one. All right, what's the game we're gonna play tonight? I'm not saying it was a bad game, Origami. I'm just saying like the transition from being It Takes Two to A Way Out, I would have rather done it in reverse. A Way Out, It Takes Two. All right, we're going to play Drawful. That seems to be like the one that we enjoy the most. The elephant scene? I didn't see the elephant scene. I might have to check that out. Is that really loud? Oh God, there's an elephant scene. Now I feel like I want to go look it up because I'm not going to ever play it. All right, let's get here. All right, get your phones out, everyone. If you're going to play with us tonight, we're going to go to jackbox.tv. Is it jackbox.tv? The most traumatizing thing. Oh my God, we're getting some good tips in the chat here around an elephant scene in the prison one, the A Way Out. There's apparently something out there that's pretty intense. All right, let's see.
No, from It Takes Two.
No, it's the A Way Out. Wait, It Takes Two.
Has an elephant scene?
Hold on a second. Tell me about the elephant scene. I dismember.
Okay.
I don't remember that one. All right. Ryan's still gonna get to this before it for me. Jack.
Can't. You gotta put us. You gotta put us
I
in.
know. I'm just.
Okay.
I'm doing that on purpose.
All right.
So that I could do this. All right, here we go. Oh God, what if it didn't connect? Oh yeah, stay with me at night. Oh yeah, okay, that elephant scene. Yes, I remember that. That was pretty damn brutal. I don't understand how you can use only 4 characters and still get into this. It's like, it drives me crazy. All right, we're getting some people in there. Ooh, look at it. Oh my goodness, we got 6 people tonight. This is some good stuff right here. All right, we're gonna give everyone just a second. We all got our standard things. Give everyone a minute to jump into this little guy.
I did a non-standard.
Oh, you went non-standard today, huh? Forgot this version doesn't have erasers.
No.
Ryan has been
Reigning champ.
one of the champions in this. All right, Becky,
Get your drawing in.
get your character. Ryan's gonna get this guy started.
Becky, I had heard, made a decision about a new phone to get, in partially because it had a pen so that she could draw better on drawful games with us.
Nice.
And it shows up right
There it is. That's a beautiful cat.
Adam with his cool S middle fingers.
Salutations and welcome to Drawful. Ah, the fabled
Talent.
6-player game. Busier than 5 and cozier than 7. Let's have some fun. All right.
I made myself
if you look
another
at your
drink, if you
devices
don't
right
mind.
now, you should see a secret prompt just for you. Weird stuff. Like breakdancing neighbor or deep sea fishing. Draw a picture on your device that would have that title. And when you're done, hit send. You'll get points for each player that can correctly guess your title. So, have fun.
Oh man.
Usually when you have a lot of people, it's freaking hard.
This is hard.
All right. Get those little. Ooh, yeah. I like that face, Mike Azul. Looking nice. Every time we've done the dirty drawful, it is so brutal. It's so nasty.
Oh.
It gives me pause. Waiting on Ryan.
Oh my
What
god,
is it
this
that
is
you're drawing that's so
impossible.
important,
Everyone's
huh?
waiting for
30
you.
seconds left.
It's so
Let's do it.
impossible.
Ding, 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 ding.
There's no countdown.
I
Okay,
guess.
he did the
Drawings in.
thing.
guess.
He
I-
submitted.
Let's get to the fun
I
part.
don't even know.
Now, use your device to type in whatever the heck the prompt for this drawing could be. anything.
That belongs in the Louvre. Oh, come on, almost. Oh, yeah, right at the last second.
Here are your choices. Which of these titles?
Oh my God, this is
Everybody
great.
had a very similar
Dreaming,
dreaming.
clearly.
Clearly, it's just who made the right
Yeah.
bet here.
Oh my God, this is good. Damn. Damn.
Pretty good.
This is really good.
We all did
Pick
good.
something.
Congratulations, all of us.
They should just give points to everyone. Everyone had the word dream. We got somebody in the audience, nonetheless. Thanks for
Hey.
joining us,
And
audience.
here are your
Yeah.
picks.
Yeah. Oh,
That was me. That was me
Hey!
getting you.
shit.
Oh.
No. Spaghetti, right? Spaghetti?
Is it spaghetti? Yeah. Thank you,
Got
audience.
Got the audience. It's gotta be spaghetti. This
Wait,
gotta
what-
be it.
what?
Dreaming of spaghetti. Ah, dang it.
Is it another life? It's another. What? Oh,
Oh.
it's eggs.
Salad.
So close.
You know, it's tough.
It's like in hindsight, it always looks like.
no,
the
because
thing.
like the tomatoes and stuff, I could see that
I
totally.
see.
Like, it's tough with the colors too.
Oh, the colors always throw it off.
Let's take a look at our next drawing. Type in a convincing title now.
Drawing lettuce with orange is rough. I get that. Okay.
Hey, I'm serious. Time is up.
I can't. When we get to mine, it's
So is it
embarrassing.
bad?
It's embarrassing. I don't know how.
Ryan draws Picasso, beautiful.
Here are your choices.
No, it's not.
It's like you kind of don't want to vote for the right one, right? Because then,
It's giving it to the
Okay, who
person,
picked what?
right?
damn it. Good job, Talon. Nice.
Yeah, all right. I got somebody.
Is that how you spell yacht?
I don't know. I was like, do I need to look up how to spell Dorito and yacht?
I'll
good
take
job,
it.
Good job.
Oh, there it is. It's a C. It's Egyptian sailing. Triangles on a boat.
Triangles on a boat.
That is. I guess they didn't have heads. I thought of that. I was like, oh my
They
god.
don't have heads.
Good job. It was like, again,
Good job. You're in first.
the thing.
Yikes. Here we go.
Put in your titles now.
Okay. Clearly, this is right.
Like, half of this time was me thinking about how even to draw this.
Hurry up, people. Just type something in.
Yeah, I hate that.
And then you're like, well, great. Now I have
Fine.
30 seconds to do this obviously super complex drawing because I wouldn't have.
Okay, here are your choices.
Interesting.
Oh.
Oh god. There's two of them that are pretty clear as to what I would think it could be.
Let's
A
see
lot
what
of
people
good,
pick.
lot of good ones.
Damn it! Oh!
Good
Good
job.
job. You
Heather.
needed that.
Yeah, that was good.
Needed it. Oof.
No.
Damn it.
Yay!
Oh,
That
that's
was
it?
it.
Yeah.
Blackmailing a
Because
dog.
I almost did. Yeah. Gave me some credit on that.
I was
one. Good
like,
job.
we had it. I needed to make it look more like Polaroids, I think,
Yeah,
like so it didn't look like
you
cards.
got it. It was
I don't
good.
know. You're like, I got it, obviously. So you're
Type
good.
in a convincing title now.
We're drawing like pornographic dog photos right there.
Yeah. It's hard when they got that small.
Hey, I'm serious. Time is up.
Okay, I'm in. Higgly.
And here are your choices.
Man, you guys did some good ones on this one. All I'm gonna say. Can't tell you which the right one is, but
Oh.
Pick an answer.
I'm gonna give credit to one of these.
And here are your picks.
Yep, I give credit to you.
Yeah.
Good job,
Good one.
Talon.
Stray arrow. I almost went that direction.
Go!
Yeah, yo. Thank you.
No, you did not want to do that. It's bad. Yes, yes, people.
Yeah, there we go.
Becky, you are my
got it.
friend.
Becky got it.
That
I
is
was so
still
clearly
no
a
excuse if you
gymnast,
don't
wasn't
stick the landing.
Yeah, you know, it's like somebody had too many of the things, right?
Uh-huh. Well, it's just like, you know it's going to be a long, weird one.
Yeah. Oh, tied up. Sorry, I thought that was it from.
Oh,
Okay,
you thought it was...
the next
I
round.
put hair on it. It was really hard. It was a good job. Oh, my God. Oh, we got Laura back with us.
Nice.
Come on. Your time is almost up.
Hush to the audience.
Here are your choices.
Oh, jeez. I gotta just say, whoever drew this one, good on you.
Select an answer. Come on.
Would it almost be better at some point not to pick an answer? Because then you're not giving someone points, especially if you know that you're probably not going to pick the right one.
Probably.
Here are your
I
picks.
don't know if you get penalized. I love that you...
Yeah.
That actually would have been good.
You know, I was like, simple.
I'll take it. Yeah. This
Okay.
is not dirty one, though.
Ah,
It's
all
the
right.
butt's falling off, right? That's it. Yeah,
Yeah.
Mike Azul, his butt is falling off. I got you.
Oh, he's beating me by 100 points now because
No.
of that streak.
Oh, streaks. I'll take it. The cookies made it happen. Oh, no.
Enter your titles now.
Okay.
It's like half these drawings I feel like would be so much better if you had slightly more fidelity on the peg. You You know, like, because you get into the detail and you're
And
just like, I
here
can't do
are your
anything with
choices.
this. I didn't draw this one, but Grandma ate the cat.
Hello.
I like there was 3 pregnants in this one.
Yeah, yeah. You know?
Pick something.
It looks like there's 2 cats.
Yeah.
Is that a belly button?
Let's see what people picked.
Hello.
Thank you, Heather.
So many pregnancies. Aw, son of a.
God damn it.
Aw,
Good job, Heather.
she really
No,
cleaned
she
house with
cleaned
that
it up.
one.
She cleaned it up with that one.
Oh.
See, it's like so hard to get raccoons in there, right? Like,
It's the eyes.
how do you make it look like raccoons? So as long as Adam did not do good, that's all I care about.
Yeah, you got up. You're
Hey,
on
let's
top
do
again.
That drawing thing again. Prompts should be on your devices now.
Ah, my God, I have the most hard, difficult. I think the audience has a delay on this of like a significant amount. So I'm really hoping that. Oh, jeez.
Second warning. Finish up and hit send. This game will be a lot less fun if you don't get your drawing in.
Ding. Oh.
Okay, got Becky in. We got 2 more.
Hello.
In.
Good trying to meet. All right.
There we go.
Everyone's in.
Feel better about this drawing.
I did not like this prompt. Oh, Jesus.
All right, let's do another one.
Damn, you go tablet style, huh?
Tablet
I
in.
love it. Yeah, that bigger screen would be
It's
better.
true.
Tablet experts in the house. Can't say anything about it.
Hello.
Okay, here are your choices.
Oh God, there's some good ones in here.
Choose something.
Hello.
Now I'm regretting instantly as soon as I chose it. I'm regretting my
And here are
choice.
your picks.
Dope.
I should have been.
Oh my God. I shouldn't have put the freaking wink on it.
You know.
Ah, son of a.
All right, I got somebody. That's good. Thank you.
You got everyone. That was everyone.
Yeah.
You're sweeping now.
Weird roommates. Oh man. That's tough. That's a tough one.
That was a toughie.
That's a tough.
How do
one.
you say they're roommates?
Yeah, exactly.
Damn, you've taken.
Crushing it
You are
now.
now just killing, murdering people. They were in the room.
Type in a title.
They were
now.
quite literally in a room. There was a window.
There was perspective lines drawn for a corner of a room. This I enjoy drawing this one.
Hurry up, people. Just type something in.
Oh, you son of a.
Oh, didn't get it in.
Because it told me it was too close and it erased it. Ah, I got so screwed.
Adams is paprika, I bet.
I just got screwed. I'm done.
You're done.
I'm toast.
Just pick one.
Oh.
Okay, who picked what?
It's a good one. It's a good one. Could be.
Did I pick that?
It's not pointing towards it. Who picked paprika? There we go.
Oh, it's spicy. Nice. You just gave this guy the win. Do we want to give trying to be the win?
Again?
Boost this guy's ego? Like
Even
he's
more?
Next up.
Oh, man.
Come on. Typing time is almost up.
Hello.
And here are your choices.
Oh.
Hello.
Come on,
Tough
pick
one.
one. Let's see what people picked.
Son of a bitch.
yeah.
Good one. Got me.
Well, that gives me some good.
That got you, though.
Ah! That's hilarious that we both did the same thing. Yeah, it was a wash.
It was a wash. Man.
Okay, no, let's not go.
What's with all the background? It's like the background art around it. There was an arrow.
Oh god.
Good.
Let's take a look.
He tried to
at
draw a
our
fly and got
answer.
out of hand.
That's great.
Quick, type in A.
Hello.
Okay.
And here are your choices.
All right.
Hello.
Oh man, this is good.
Just tap any
Tough.
button.
It is a little tough.
Yeah, these are good.
There's like 3 or 4 of them that are
Yeah.
like pretty damn close.
And here are your picks.
Damn it! Who'd you got
Dang,
that?
good
Talon.
one.
Wow,
Talon,
look at
man.
sweet.
It's like practically a sweep. I didn't choose that one, of course.
Nope, he chose mine, buddy.
Ah, damn it. I can't be feeding Adam. Pretending to be busy. Nice.
Like you've seen me work in an office.
The malaise on the face for sure.
Oh God, 2,500 points.
You just
up.
you have
might
been
have, like-
sweeping.
Oh dang. Right. It's just like cheating out. Damn it! It's like he gets me. He gets me every time.
It's funny. This is so tough. I don't even know.
Hey,
Oh.
I'm serious. Time is up.
Hello.
All right. Let's see what this does. This is a fun drawing. I like this one.
Here
Yeah,
are
I
your
like
choices.
the expressions there.
Yeah.
Ooh, there's some good ones here.
Yeah.
Trying to do your hand. Oh, that's good.
Hello.
Oh.
Again, I have regrets
Pick
about my choice.
anything. And here are your picks.
Okay,
Job.
okay.
Good job. Take it.
Damn it.
Oh.
Good job, Becky.
Good one. Straightforward, right?
He's like struggling. He has a struggle look on it.
man, it's like this is very.
Everyone's tricking everyone.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh my god, I didn't think they'd put an exclamation in it. I ruled it out because of the stupid freaking punctuation. What the heck?
Yeah.
Do they have punctuation?
Do they? I think you can put punctuation. Can't
Oh
you?
my god. Talon is taking second place.
Type in a convincing title now. Hurry up, people. Just type something in.
Oh no!
Oh.
Oh, my thing was too close.
Okay, here are
That's
your
what happened to
choices.
me.
Ah.
Yeah, that's
And then
what
I had all 2 seconds to write something else.
Uh-huh. I like how it just erases it.
It
after
doesn't even. Yeah.
Well, we know what the answer is then.
No, but I could have just had
answer.
something that was
Oh.
close to
Hello.
And
Somebody
here
else-
are your
somebody
picks.
else's, right?
No way.
No,
That was
almost
actually-
did
I thought that
almost did
was
that,
it.
Yeah.
I just went for
Oh,
something
yes, it-
ridiculous.
Okay. Ah, see, because that's what I wrote. I literally wrote cat poker. The D going.
Okay. Oh, what? Yeah, I'll take it. Thank you, audience.
Oh, is he like is that the devil over there?
Oh,
that's
it is the
cheating?
devil.
Hello.
Yeah.
Thank you, thank you.
Ryan, you're gonna be banned from this. No one's gonna be able to play with you.
Talon.
Talon
Good
with the
job.
most picks.
Nice.
As always, that was probably one of our most interactive, texty, fun
true.
ones. Thank you all for
Totally.
playing and
Yeah,
hanging
I
out
appreciate
tonight
that.
on the show. It has been a good evening.
Yeah.
Lots to talk about, lots to hang out. We have guests that haven't been in with us for a while, so thanks for chilling with us tonight.
Yeah, it was great. I appreciate you all being in. Have an amazing weekend, and think about AI in your job.
Yeah, and how it's gonna be a terrible future.
Just keep that in mind as you go to bed tonight.
No, thank you all for hanging out with us at Double Drop Down. Oh, Ryan has something to talk about.
Hey, we made some stickers. We made some double drop down stickers. Speaking of the Game Boy game, we have some double drop down stickers. So if we see you in real life, if you hang out or you see Adam or Ryan in real life, just ask for a sticker. We're gonna
We'll
give
get
out
you
stickers.
one.
We got
So
stickers.
that's what you're here for. So until next time, we will see you out there. Thank you so much for the hanging out tonight. Peace out. Bye.
Bye. What is in real life?
Yeah, this is how we hang.